I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host, Superman, in the house. Another day, man. What a wild ride it was overnight. Massive pump on Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the crypto majors, Pulsechain, Hex. I mean, it was really a fun time. And then a big pullback, all got reversed. And of course, we've still got a lot of stuff going on with the Iranian war. And of course, some updates on that. I think it's going all pretty well for the most part over there. And so I do still think we're going to be in a relatively short war, a few weeks. So we'll keep watching that as well, that development. And then oil prices will go back down, everything else. So obviously they're looking to take control of the Strait of Hormuz. We saw a major move in that direction, as well as turning off the financial tap to the Iranian regime. Also, targeting the military. So we'll get into a bit of that too. We're going to cover the stock market, of course. We're going to cover the PCE inflation data. Woo! That came in really nice. We're obviously going to cover the crypto majors. We're going to cover Bitcoin. We're going to deep dive a little bit into Stretch, Michael Saylor's preferred stock, competing with the money markets. And of course, we're also going to get into some of the updates there with Bitmine Emission expanding its reach. Bitmine is going to be a juggernaut, guys. So we're going to check out that. If you haven't gotten to Strategy Club, I highly recommend you join. We'll talk about that in a minute. And of course, we're going to get into the Pulsechain prices. We are expecting PRVX to launch within, I guess, about 24 hours, within 24 hours. So, yeah, that's getting a lot of excitement. A lot of people, what's going to happen to the price? Well, we know we're in crypto, guys. It really will depend whether Richard does anything extra against the normal market play out. But we know how markets play out when token launches. So just take note of that, and we'll see whether there's some extra source. So I'm not relying on the extra source, so you got to assume it's not there. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, so don't forget, let's get into it, shall we? Shall we, without further ado, let's talk about the socials a little bit on the way in, because we're getting ready for the bull market. Got to grow in the bear market, right? And so if you haven't joined up to Strategy Club, the link's in the video description on YouTube, also pinned to the top of X there. You can see it there. Join the Strategy Club, and you go through the Whoop store. It's just over $1 a day. So it's fantastic there. I passed all the intel as we were researching and looking at the markets every day, passing the intel in there. So it's a fantastic. If you're really busy, or if you're new to crypto, perfect for you. Get in there, folks. And of course, we have great discussions as well about strategy. We also have, a lot of possible options there with lower risk and high reward, those sort of things. So get in there, folks. You can also hit the QR code there underneath the video, and that will send you to the link to the Whoop store to join up straight away. So there we go. Fantastic. So, right. So, and if you haven't subscribe on YouTube and hit the follow on X. We're getting closer to 1,500. We're only 13 to go until 1,500. So smash the follow there. We're rebuilding that channel. It's going to be pretty cool. All right. So let's get into it. Let's jump over to the stock market. We got Fat Sammy in the house, another influencer in the house. Hey, great to see you, Fat Sammy. Let's go. Absolutely. Hey, Fat Sammy. Great stuff. Keep up the great work. If you guys haven't followed Fat Sammy, give him a follow on X. Hunt him down. And he's doing some great TA, particularly around Hex and other stuff like that. So definitely give him a follow there. And of course, he is, I guess he's still the leader of the Council of Pulse Bitcoin, which is pretty cool too. So shout out to him. All right, let's get into it. We've got stocks not down a lot because investors still believe in the Trump put. Well, I think it's a pretty no-brainer. The Trump economy is going to be roaring, guys. And of course, Trump is also dealing with the geopolitical risks that should have been dealt with decades ago. There's nothing new about this stuff, guys. Getting rid of a terrorist state, extremist state, with a pursuit of nuclear bombs, and they will use those nuclear bombs. You can bet your bottom dollar, and they'll use it in a terrorist way, just like they do everywhere else. It had to be done. The other side of it, of course, is the people over Iran, over 80% want to be free from the regime. So that is a big plus there as well. Freedom is, once you lose it, it's hard to get back, guys. Hard to get back. All right, so we've got the Dow Jones at the moment is down 0.25%, 119 points to 46,558. The S&P 500 is down 0.6%, let's say, 40 points to 6,632. The Nasdaq is down almost 1%, 206 points to 20,105. So pretty volatile. You can see if we look at the Dow Jones, that is down over the 24 hours a little bit. S&P 500, you can see we're up at 6,700. It came down 100 points pretty much, and or 40 points, I should say. And then we had the Nasdaq there also, coming down a lot too. So we're actually holding up pretty well through most of the day. This came down on that the second half of there, and that was due to more news, I guess, in the markets around Iran. And we always have market makers and manipulators, right? So that's just the way it goes. US dollar at the moment is sitting at 100, so that is the first time I think we've seen that for a while. Let's go to the monthly chart there. That's the first time we've seen the US dollar back over 100 on the index. It's the US dollar versus its trading partners, and that is over 100 for the first time in some time. Remember when Trump came in? This was 100. I think it was 108 when Trump came in. I'm not sure if we still got that now. Yeah, we've moved past the 1 year part for Trump. But it was 103 back in March last year. Not too far from that. So it's the first time we're back there. And the last time we'd been up this level was October last year. But really, it was last year that we were, up at this elevated level of the strong US dollar. We did see chats between Trump and President Putin around Putin going back to the US dollars rather than trying to get the brick currency. For oil. So we'll see how that goes. I think it's going to probably bode pretty well. Trump is looking very strong, regardless of what the mainstream media might say on the left, because he has been dealing with issue after issue pretty efficiently. And I think we're still in that efficient zone for the Iranian war, right? We're still in that window of short war. So there we go. It's a massive country. Remember, Iran is ginormous, 90 million people, and they've been building a lot of stuff for a lot of years. The actual attacks now apparently have hit 15,000 bomb attacks or targeted attacks there by the United States at a cost, I think, about $11 billion so far. So that's going to give you a bit of the numbers there. Pretty huge. All right, so let's jump over to the VIX. The VIX is down at 27, so that's not too bad. It's still pretty elevated, but coming down, I would say. West Texas is sitting at $98.71, up 3%. We've got Brent oil at $103, up 2.7%. So still elevated oil prices. And if we look at the last month, let's say, we can see that we're still off the top there. We've got to 120, but we're still pretty elevated here. Gold at the moment, $5,061, down $64, 1.25%. Silver down 4.4% at $81.34, down as well. Off the highs there of $95. I mean, for silver. And gold's high, of course, all the way up here at above 5,400. So we're down, maybe about $350 to $400 on the old gold now. And we are seeing some rotation overnight into crypto from particularly Ethereum from gold, from some of the common players, what you call common players there. That's pretty much it at the moment. Obviously, the Strait of Hormuz has been a significant thing. People are still waiting still holding on to the Trump economy, the golden age of America. And so that time has not really been done yet, right? So the market's holding up relatively well, given the fact that, they're dealing with the Iran issue. So let's jump into some of the big moves that happened overnight for Trump. And, of course, CENTCOM there, the military, levels Iranian military sites on the Karg Island. Now, I told you about this, spares the oil terminals. So imagine this being the tap, as it were, for the Iranian economy with selling oil. This is the island that you want, right? So to get this island, you're pretty much turning that tap off, right? So this is why it's gone next level, especially after that container ship was hit. U.S. President Donald Trump announced on Friday that American forces have obliterated every military target in Iran's Karg Island, the country's primary crude export hub, and one of the most significant aerial bombardments in the history of the Middle East. military installations were the main targets of the strike, but Trump warned that he's prepared to target Iran's critical oil infrastructure if Tehran continues to obstruct the Strait of Hormuz. Now, he doesn't want to do that, of course, in the sense because he wants the people of Iran to take over the government and have a flourishing economy. So he doesn't really want to deal with any of that. He already probably told off Israel for doing that one bomb attack. So he's really trying to hold off. He doesn't really want to do that sort of stuff. And so just going to this island and turning the tap off is the easier way to go. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if we see, special forces or something like that, Marines, take over that island. That's definitely plausible, right? The escalation comes as Brent oil continues to trade around $100. In a statement released via Truth Social, Trump noted that the U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, executed the raid to neutralize Iranian defensive capabilities on the island, which handles roughly 90% of the Islamic Republic's oil exports. So you can see all they have to do is take control of that island, at least prevent it from doing work, and they will turn off the money tap to Iran. Now, obviously, they are trying to also, at the moment, we've seen overnight, particularly the Israelis have been targeting IRGC military forces at check stops and stuff like that. That is to try and help the people of Iran do a revolution without getting killed, right? That's the idea. And that's the last thing. Because you remember, the Ayatollah's regime is not just fighting America and Israel. They're also going to end up fighting, 80% plus of their people, maybe even closer to 90% of the Iranian people want the regime gone. So they're fighting a battle on two fronts. And one, I think it's impossible for them to win. And especially now that you've got basically the revolution can call in airstrikes on Iranian military positions at will. It's probably going to get to that point, and that's something that Israel can do. America necessarily doesn't need to do that now that they have air superiority, right? Air supremacy, actually. So that's something we're going to see happen there as well. And freedom for the Iranian people will be fantastic. If you guys remember what it was like before the Ayatollahs took over 47 years ago, it was a modern Western society, really, really well. And of course, the Persian culture, a well celebrated culture and history as well as knowledge, right? So obviously looking for freedom there. So that's kind of it. So let's get into that. We got for reasons of decency, I've chosen not to wipe out the oil infrastructure for the island. Trump wrote while clarifying that this restraint is contingent on the free and safe passage of commercial shipping. Now, I still don't think actually he's going to deal a lot with the oil system. That's probably more of a threat there. I think that'd be a very extreme thing to do. But what we expect to see is the Fifth Fleet take over the Strait of Hormuz, and that takes probably a little bit longer than people think. But probably not that long. So we're expecting, I've said to you about a week, I expect them to take to shut down and particularly hitting a lot of the coastal military installations there to stop any, drones or land to sea weapons. So we'll be watching that as well. In the meantime, of course, they'll be attacking all of the attacking all of the military sites and check stops there to help the revolution occur. That's probably where I think things are going now, because there's probably not too much left. They keep hunting the stuff that's underground, what's left of it, so they'll just keep hunting all those sort of terminals. Now, we know how big Hamas had in the Gaza Strip with all their tunnels, and no doubt Iran has a pretty big system of tunnel systems. So they're going to have to, Israel will probably have to spend many weeks hunting all those down, getting intel and etc., all that sort of stuff going on. All right, so that's kind of where we are right now. Now, we did have the economic data out, right? So let's quickly check that with the economic calendar and see where that is at. And let's have a look here. We got today's data. I think that might show it. Yeah, core PCE. So core PCE for the month came in at 0.4%. Expectation forecast was 0.4%. So that's at market. And the previously month was 0.4%. Now here's we got the core PCE year on year. This is the key one we're looking for. 3% was last month. We expected 3.1. We got 3.1. So at the market expectations. So no uplift from that, but pretty much at the market. And that's essentially what we saw for CPI as well. So both inflation measures this week have come in at expectations. and are still relatively modest, right? So we've still got relatively modest inflation, a little bit higher than the Fed would want, but still not too bad. And of course, we've got the Fed meeting coming up in a day or two. It's not too far away, 4 days and 16 hours away on the 18th. The market is expecting a no change in the federal funds rate at 3.75%. So we're still sitting at 98%. Trump, of course, also putting out statements around getting a rate cut. And I've said to you, I'm in the same camp. This rate is too high for too long. It should probably at least be close to 3%. So probably at least 50 to 75 basis point cut. It's up too high for too long. And the market's signaling that they don't expect any change through April, through June. I mean, there's a disaster, if you ask me, in terms of the contribution, interest rates, the GDP, employment, and inflation. And we're not expecting, the first time the market's starting to expect a rate cut is by June. This is the last session of Chairman Jerome Powell. He is a Democrat, right? And he's pretty bad at his job. And so here we are with the July looking like 30% of the market expecting a rate cut, but we will have a new chair by then. And presumably the new chair is going to do the right thing because it's pretty badly managed by Jerome Powell. And so, let's see how that, and we continue on with that rate cycle to the downside, as well as the uplift of GDP and employment that one would get from that, as well as relieving the housing market, right? The housing market getting further relief there. All right, so that is the stock market and economic news. Let's go to the crypto markets and check that out. So we got crypto at the moment. Let's do a refresh of this because the CoinGecko API sometimes gets a bit stuck. So we had 2.489 trillion, down 1.1% overnight. We got Bitcoin at the moment at $70,720, down 1.3%. And boy, what a rally we had overnight. We're going to check that out in a minute. Ethereum at the moment down 1.8% at $2,088. Now, the key thing about these two numbers is that they're over 70 over 2K, and particularly for Ethereum over 2050 and a Bitcoin over that 70K. So that's kind of cool psychological levels. Obviously, we're looking for a bigger rally in the future. So, but we've got the volatility from the Iranian war. But look, they get control of the Strait of Hormuz over the next few days, then that would help with oil prices come down and everything goes up. Boom, boom, boom. So we've got XRP right now. Sorry, BNB. Down 0.9% at $654. XRP at number 5, down 1.3% at $1.40. Solana at number 7, down 2.3% at $88. Tron at number 8, up 1% at 29.3 cents. Figurehelik up 1.4% at $1.02. And Dogecoin at number 10, down 1.3% at 9.5 cents. Now, obviously, we're expecting Doge to do pretty well with X Money wallet. And we know the phasing of that's going to be going public, and I think without about a month, or less than a month. And then what's happening after that? So in public, and then after that, what is happening after that? I've just forgotten. I've had it in my mind and just skipped my mind. I hate it when that happens. Going public next week, and then going global. That was it. Going global within about 2 months. And because the US dominated at the moment, and we've been seeing videos of people in stores around the world using the X Money wallet there. It's been pretty cool. And 6% APY on it. So that's causing a stir, right? And then, of course, we're expecting crypto to come later on. That shouldn't be too far away. I don't think it's going to be too far. And that means Doge will probably get a lot of love from that, right? A lot of love from that. So keep a lookout for that. It's definitely a mega theme there. And of course, remember, there's 1 billion hits essentially on X every month. I think that's it, every month. So it's going to be one of the major potential wallets, banking/wallets out there. So that's going to be a pretty key thing to look out. All right, so that is pretty much it in the top 10. Figurehelik there, number 1, up from 1.4 for the 24 hours over the last week. The best performer is actually Ethereum, actually up 5.4% for the week. So good one, Ethereum, and that bodes well for where Ethereum's heading. Particularly, I think digital asset treasuries and other ETFs and other things are coming in to bite us. We had BlackRock ETF, so we're expecting some big things for Ethereum, let alone Bitcoin. So kind of cool. And Solana. And so let's not leave Solana out. All right, so top performers in top 100. We've got Render at number 1, up 32%. BitTensor Tau up 31%. Official Trump up 21%. Hyperliquid up 18.6%. And Just up 12.3%, right? So pretty cool. Hyperliquid of note too, getting a lot of benefit from the oil spike. with traditional traders on Wall Street coming over to Hyperliquid to access the optionality to make a position on oil price. So Hyperliquid getting a big uplift there, pretty cool. We also see that on Kraken, we've got X stocks trading, right? And X stocks looks like it's going to be ubiquitous. In other words, moving beyond Kraken into a lot of DEXs and other places. So that's from BlackRock. BlackRock definitely making some big, NASDAQ, I should say, my bad. NASDAQ making some big moves there with their X stocks. So a pretty interesting trend happening right now. So there's lots of things, lots of products, lots of innovations, lots of expansions happening at this time, guys. So if you think it's just a slow-moving crypto market, it's not. The crypto market's moving fast. There are lots of products being launched on the market, a lot of access being given. Typically when you trade on the stock market, you might need a broker or a trading platform, a traditional trading platform. But now that's moving on to DeFi, guys, and CeFi. And so there's lots of exotics there. There's being able to trade, perhaps synthetic versions that are actually normally back to 1-to-1. So X stocks are back 1-to-1, or actually getting access to preferred stock options through things like ETPs, right? So new ETPs popping up, giving you access to high yield. So some pretty awesome products out there happening at the moment. So keep a lookout for it. It's going to be pretty fun. All right, so let's jump over to the top 1,000. We've got Banana for Scale at the moment up 44%. We've got Templar at the moment up 31%. Tagger up 30% in the top 1,000. Overall trending is Bitcoin, Pudgy Penguins, and official Trump. Trump has been getting some love, and you might have seen that overnight. Trump was getting some big buying coming into it. So there we go. Not surprised. It's sitting at number 3 there. Overall in the top 100, up 28% there, sitting at number 74. So bit of love there for the official Trump. $3.79 for goodness sake, though. And remember when it got pumped super high early on, it was pretty big, right? So let's go to the max there. And we remember how at the beginning it sucked all the capital from like Ethereum and other chains over to Solana, and it went to $44. And here we are at $3.85 right now. So there we go. But a big pump overnight there, big pump, relatively speaking, on the old chart there. So fun and games in the old crypto, eh? Fun and games. All right. That is pretty much it. Zoom in on the old Bitcoin here on Coinbase. We have the price at the moment at 70,800. But look at that big wick we had last night. Whoa. And it actually wicked over the 50-day moving average. 50-day moving average. Yeah, 50-day moving in yellow. And it wicked it past that. But, man, it got slammed down there, possibly due to the Iranian oil issues. But I think those are going pretty well, honestly, at the moment. As long as, they don't sink a whole ton of oil ships. So we're at 70,800, and typically I think we're going to wick, try and push back up to that wick, right? So that wick there went all the way up to 70. I'm just going to round it off, 74,000. I mean, it was pretty huge. We're just below 71,000 right now. So I think we're going to probably head back up towards that, is my guess. And we've got the 50-day moving average at 72,763. Pretty key to get over that, right? So we want to do that. And I think even Fat Sam was mentioning around getting over 73K yesterday, obviously with our 50-day moving average there as well. So keep a lookout for that. The 200-day moving average is all the way up at just under $88,000. So we've got a bit of work to do that. But, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to creep back up there. So 2.7% to get it back up there right now. Now, I think we're going to have something pretty interesting happening too, possibly over the weekend, as well as next week. So should we talk about that? Before we do, though, let's have a look at the shorter time horizons. So we're going to have a look at the 4 hour, let's say. And we've got a golden cross coming up on the 4 hours, guys. Woo! Can it make it? Yes, it can. Come on, have some hope. But we're sitting there pretty well with the 50-day coming up towards the 200-day. 200. We were talking about 4 hours. Sorry, time frame. We've got the 50 moving average for the 4 hours coming up to the 200, and we're actually bounced off the 200 here on the 4 hours. So that's pretty interesting. That's boding well for that upside probability, right? That upside probability. So kind of cool. All right, so that's pretty much it on that one. Let's jump over to some of the news around that. Of course, we've been following strategy, Michael, the big DAT from Michael Saylor, because this is such a game changer. I think this is going to be such a game changer. It's basically a money machine that's going to be buying up Bitcoin and I think it's going to be consistent. I really do think not only is it going to be consistent, but it's going to be vampiring the money markets and bond markets, the private credit markets. It really is Bitcoin, at least MicroStrategy's strategy company with MSTR, is really vampiring the traditional financial markets. It's really going to be hard to see them not, just suck all that capital out. Hundreds of trillions of dollars we're talking about out of those markets. And I showed a nice diagram about that the other day. Have we got Fast Abdul in the house here? I'm here for the tech. A big shout out there, Fast Abdul. Now, Fast Abdul, we're looking forward to VouCH 369. We're going to probably talk about that quite a bit too. So looking forward to that going to market soon. Can't be too far away. All right, timing is key. Timing in the market is key. So a good launch sentiment in the market can be perfect for that. All right, so let's have a look what's been going on here. So Stretch is a preferred stock, right? So it's competing with these money market, bond market, credit markets, and it has just really started to lift. Like it's really just last 2 weeks really started to lift out of the gates, and it's doing some spectacular things. Now they do have, when you have a preferred stock with a high dividend yield, which is basically 2 to almost 3 times the money market, bond market, and that's what's going to draw capital into it, is that you do have settlement dates and qualifying dates. So, which is typically the 15th and the end of the month, because they've got other products, right? They've got SATA product. And so to qualify, to get paid out for the STRC is the 15th, right? So that's still a day away. So we're going to see some interesting patterns with that in terms of the amount of money gets accumulated from the Stretch product. But actually, I think it's still not going to matter too much. I think we'll still just have up and high days, low days, particularly after that qualification period. But I think it's just going to ramp up, so it's going to keep going because of the variability of the yield, 11.5% yield there. They adapt that to the markets, value of the price. At the moment, we can see Stretch prices below its par value of $100, 99.72. And we can see that actually, look what they did on Monday. So they accumulate. Think about the amount of money. This is crazy stuff. So 132 million on Monday, 184 million on a Tuesday they got from the market, 193 million from Wednesday, 307 million on Thursday, nothing on Friday, and the total amount of that for the week was 817 million. This is just from STRC. This doesn't include issuing shares for MSTR, the main stock, right? This is crazy, right? So typically we had seen about I think maybe a 1-to-3 or 1-to-4 ratio with the Stretch product. So we could end up seeing a couple $1 billion being used to buy Bitcoin. So this is equivalent though to buying 11,643 Bitcoin. That's crazy, right? Remember that if we go to the actual treasury analysis and we look at where strategy is right now, it's at 738,000 Bitcoin. Remember, we just hit 20 million Bitcoin in mining. So we've only got 1 million to go for the next so-and-so years. And that was about 125 years, something like that. We got 738,000 Bitcoin, and they're going to probably add, that 11,000 from Stretch on Monday. And then, of course, if they've done MSTR issuance, they could add even more. So we could, I don't know, are we going to see a 30,000 for the week or something crazy? And that would jump them to 770 Bitcoin or something. So we're going to keep a lookout for the Monday. This could be a massive bull catalyst for crypto, for the Bitcoin. So keep a lookout for that. And so it is some pretty crazy stuff. And obviously we got the qualifying period on the 15th. We might see a little bit of a dip in the money generation from Stretch after that. Remember, it's basically harvesting the yield market to pump Bitcoin, and it's a vicious circle, right? This goes around in there. So it's just started happening the last couple of weeks. It is the master product, the genius product there from Michael Saylor. Pretty crazy. Fat Sammy says bullish data. It is indeed bullish, guys. It's just really is mind-boggling. That's why we're covering it, right? Because we don't want to miss the really alpha secret sauce here. So Rowan, he says, we just witnessed history. STRC likely bought 11,000 Bitcoin from 800 million in ATM proceeds this week alone. That's pretty crazy. Monday's 8K form, so if you're used to the stock market disclosures, 8K form from Strategy is going to break the internet. It is, I think, and because this doesn't include, like I say, MSTR, which is share issuance of the stock. And it could be quite crazy. We could see, I mean, if they've done another $2 billion of share raise or something, we could see a 30,000. I mean, this is a massive uplift, guy. I mean, just think about it. And this is just in 1 week. Last week, of course, was 18,000. Remember that? 18,000. Well, it's going to be pretty crazy. And that was about 5,000. Let's go quickly check. So at 18,000 last week. Let's go back to the preferred equity here, and we'll look at last week's data. Just give a backdrop of this. So I just want to really show the magnitude of this. So out of the 18,000 last time, it was 5,100 was from Stretch, 5,100. And here we are, we're over double that this week, the second week. That's crazy. Last week it was 355 million. This week they've raised 816. Next week may probably be a bit lower. We'll see. There is a lot of people chasing that yield. We also see some of the stretch getting bought up by stretch stock getting bought up by strategy itself. But still, we've got a lot of key players coming into this. And just this week alone, we saw 21 shares. It's a pretty boutique sort of offering on the stock market, issue an ETP, an exchange traded product, which now incorporates the stretch product as a yield index essentially. And what that does, it opens up access for people to get access to this high yield product on the back of Bitcoin. And of course, that makes it easier to access because you're not having to go through a broker, for example. So a pretty big deal there. And so we're seeing all this innovation happening around this. And imagine this, imagine you're in retirement, for example, which I think, is such a great product. Now, and you can have a combination of products from strategy. You're earning 11.5% yield, for goodness. Think about that, 11.5% yield instead of some crummy 2-3%, or even 5% if you're taking, higher bond market / credit markets, right? Maybe up to 7% tops. And if you think about real estate too, which has a lot of risks in it too, right? Boom and market cycles. But here, you're looking at 11.5%. Now, obviously, 11.5% gets adjusted depending on how the PAR's working, how the supply and demand. Essentially, they try to get back to it all the time. But I just think it's going to be a perpetual money generation machine because it's always going to be offering, way bigger than the yield markets from TradeFi. It is game changing. So imagine sitting in retirement, for example, you've got a decent holdings and you're earning that high yield. You'd just be laughing yourself all silly, right? You have such a high income, relatively speaking. So it is a game changer, guys. It's even a bigger game changer if you can get access to that in outside the United States too. And so imagine earning that high yield, probably closer to 20%, something like that in some countries, depending on the exchange rate. So it's a revolution going on right now. It is the genius of Michael Saylor, and it's going to be fun to watch this, guys. And we're only essentially in the second week of it really picking up. The product was launched, I think, last year, but it's really only been turned on in the last couple of weeks. So kind of cool. Now, it's not the only product, of course. There's other products that such strategy has. We won't go through all that now, but it's exciting, guys. It's exciting. All right, so that's pretty cool. Now, we also saw not only on the strategy on the Bitcoin side, so these digital assets treasuries are doing something special on Bitcoin. It is vampiring the credit markets, right? So and funding Bitcoin buys, and we already know it's already doing like 10x, 20x what is being mined by the miners. So you can see what's happening here. It's pretty crazy. And if that can, I'm expecting it to continue because of the yield differential. And so it's pretty crazy. What else we got on a Bitmine immersion? We got something even bigger, I think. If a strategy under Michael Saylor there is harvesting the hundreds of trillions of bond money markets, then in Bitmine immersion is really harvesting not only bond markets to some degree in terms of tokenization and things, but also the stablecoin market and the equity markets, right? So really harvesting that whole trend and leading the way for it to actually help make it happen. And that's on Ethereum because Ethereum has smart contracts. And it's a game changer, guys. It's a game changer. So we're also seeing some bigger things happening, not just around those ideas, but also AI. AI is also being a key part that's being brought over by Tom Lee. So pretty crazy stuff. But generally speaking, anyway, we're seeing stablecoin continuing to boom. and we've got the Genius Act regulation coming in July. We've got the enactment in January 27. That whole thing is processing. We're obviously trying to get the Clarity Act through with market regulations, and that hopefully we'll get through, we're hoping, in April. So obviously we've got to battle with the banks that are scared of this yield, right? And they've got good reason. I just showed you with the strategy, got good reason to be scared of competing with yield. So yeah, pretty crazy stuff. Anyway, so we've got 315 billion in stablecoins. Treasury Scott Bessent's talked about us getting to 3-4 trillion by 2030. We've got 162 billion of that on Ethereum, and it's just the beginning. So pretty awesome. We also saw this week that Circle, which is actually registered on the stock market, you can actually get in on that action. And of course, remember how profitable stablecoins are, extremely profitable. And of course, all the people are coming, right? Because they see how profitable it is. And imagine just if you're scaling from, a couple hundred billions to trillions, imagine how much revenue you're going to earn, guys. It also shores up the US dollar because it's collateralized on the US dollar, right? Repos and things like that. So it is a pretty big game changer, guys. And you can see that the trend is up, and it's only warming up. So it could be pretty exciting where this all goes. Yeah, boy. Now we got stable coins and tokenization, and it's all happening, guys. And we're still early, still on the early takeoff phase. Very, very cool to see. So look forward to more of that, more of the same there. And of course, it's going to be pretty powerful there for those on Ethereum, right? Now, moving to that a little bit more, we did see Bitmine Immersion do some pretty interesting expansions here. So Tom Lee and ARK Investment, they seem to be getting it. They're getting pretty close to each other. They have been close for a long time, but they're really, Kathy Wood and then Tom Lee, they're really leading the revolution there on the old Ethereum, guys. And they're looking at other chains as well, but it's mainly Ethereum. 8Co shares jumped 11% on Thursday after securing 125 million from Bitmine. Now remember, Bitmine has a moonshot where they spend 5% of their cash on these strategic acquisitions and investments. ARK Investment and Kraken parent Paywood. Now this is very key here. Kraken's parent Paywood is also involved with this. As I said, I think there's going to be quite a lot of connections into Kraken. Remember, Kraken just made a big move with NASDAQ around X stocks. And I think this is a big move here that Tom Lee is working with Kraken. So keep a lookout for that. It's going to have some pretty big ramifications, I think, through to the apps that they're going to be launching and their connection to Mr. Beast and the mass adoption leadership that's going to be shown there between Tom Lee, Mr. Beast, coming up in the next year and next year, this year, current year, and next year. I'm pretty sure their app's going to launch this year. They bought Leap. Remember, essentially with the $200 million that Bitmine gave them from Tom Lee for Mr. Beast, and that revalued the company of Mr. Beast at $5 billion. We are expecting an ICO or something like that for Mr. Beast in the future. Mr. Beast Industries, particularly, they're expanding into their financial arm. That's going to be worth so much money, guys. Going to dwarf everything else they're doing with consumables and other stuff, with content. And we're looking, basically to dominate Generation Z, Generation Alpha, as well as a bit of millennials there. And so we could see an ICO IPO thing there happening, and suddenly $5 billion is suddenly worth $1 trillion, right? That's kind of where we're heading with, I think, Mr. Beast Industries. And of course, Bitmine Immersion has that beautiful $200 million position in it, which is a strategic corporate position. And I think there's a lot of stuff happening between all these partners here, all these names that are going to be coming together for a integrated solution that's going to basically transfer the monetary system onto the blockchain to some degree. And also, they're going to be leading that, right, and get all the value from that. So it's going to be pretty massive deal there. So pretty awesome stuff. Fat Sammy says Bitmine was still buying $100 million worth of ETH a week, but they have 800 million cash ready to scoop a potential dip. Yeah, well, actually have 1.2 billion, Fat Sammy, on the increase there. The question is whether they've raised even more capital over the last week, and what will their disclosure be next week as well. We already saw they bought 30,000 ETH. They bought 60,000 last week, which was up from 50,000 a week before. So will they be going up again to 70, 80 ETH? And we're expecting a big buy in that. So you're quite right. We're expecting some big buys there coming up. So they're timing the bottom. Remember, the 14th was supposed to be the bottom. Well, that's tomorrow, right? That's tomorrow. So we're going to see some big wick candles next week, and an increased disclosure for Bitmine and buying ETH, and then a big disclosure next week. Imagine that. Next big disclosure next week, a big buy next week. Now, I'm not expecting to use all the 1.2 billion because that's about, around about 600,000 ETH. I mean, it's mind-boggling numbers, guys. So I'm expecting them to buy significant large parcels. I don't know, might be 200, 250, might be a big buy in there possibly. And they're going to keep generating money because what they want to do, and Tom Lee's indicated he expects that they will get to their 5% this year, guys. And I can see that happening very fast if they're going to go around buying, up to 600,000 just within the next weeks. That's what they could do today. They would get them over 5% at about 5.1 million ETH out of the 6 million thereafter. They're at just over 4.5 at the moment. It is a game changer, right? So we've got some big things happening. It's exciting, guys. You got to get exciting. These digital asset treasuries are leading the way. They are very fundamental to the fundamentals heading forward, and it's wonderful to have. It really is exciting. That's why I'm talking about it so much at the moment, because it'd be a fool's errand to ignore what is pretty much the biggest catalyst going on right now. These guys are really market makers. Yeah, that's cool. It's fat, Sammy. All right, so that's some cool stuff happening. Now, this stuff around ICO and that, this is around digital ID and also AI. So this is kind of where the aspect's coming in. So it's going to be coming in, I think, into their wallet and financial services, all that sort of stuff that's coming up. So keep a lookout for that. We're also expecting Maven staking protocol. Obviously, they've staked about over 3 million ETH out of their 4.5 million. And I think there's about 3 million or so ETH in the staking queue right now. No one wants to leave. Everyone wants to get into staking. And we're getting a lot of products added on. We just saw BlackRock launch their product. I think it was the ETH, I think it was. And that is first day bought on 15 billion, I think. 15 billion? 15 billion, I think so. So that's going to be a big amount. 15 billion, 15 million. I can't remember now. We'll double check. But they came in with big money, and we're expecting that to ramp up too. So more and more big players are coming in. Big products are buying up ETH, basically. So we're going to have ETFs, ETPs, but the big players are really these DATs, right? These digital asset treasuries. Pretty crazy stuff. We've got Sean and House there, up only 369 our season. Hey Sean, you keep adding. You had up only, which token launched? You've got 369. That must be a token on Pump Tires. And our season, is that another token on Pump Tires? Let us know in the chat. Sean is gaining popularity on X. He's definitely getting his own click there. So all you have to do is just keep posting up only, and that's then you got to break out with from Crypto Coffee, and it's game on now. Game on. All right, so that is some of the plus there. Let's jump over to Pulsechain. How we do for time? 42 minutes. We're doing pretty well today. Let's see where Pulsechain is, guys. Obviously, it went up and down with the old crypto. The one thing I will say though is that we've got PRVX launching, right? So PRVX launching possibly within the next 24 hours. It's already the token's already been the live token's already been distributed, but transfer is not enabled. It's people are getting excited in the community. We've got day 1037 we're on at the moment. Here's the thing I'm really excited about. Sean says yep. We got Pulse at the moment at quadruple 106, and that's what's exciting me. We've had a battle to lose that fifth zero, and so we're now at 40106. So it's actually looking pretty good. We're up just under 1% for the day. We had a little bit of a rally last night. Obviously, that's been shaved off a little bit. We might actually have a look at the Pulse chart just to show that. Pulse at the moment still super cheap, 5078, up 2% right now. The buy and burn sitting at 8.66% based on GoPulse numbers. INC at the moment at just under 47 cents, down to 2.75%. So it's the only one that's down at the moment. And Hex on Pulsechain has been, talk of the town overnight. It had quite a good little pump there, and has come back though. Sitting at based on here, I think it's a bit lower on the actual DEX screener. We're going to check that, but it's showing up as 2100th of a penny, up still almost 6%. EHEX at the moment holding up pretty well from last night actually, 00072 right now. So you can pick up a lot of volume on Hex, of course, and Hex still seems to be the most popular token out there. So getting a lot of support. I've seen a number of polls out, comparing to PRVX and Peacock and other things. But actually Hex seems to be the most favored. Obviously, it's got the history. It's the original token. It's got a huge amount of investors. It's got a lot of interest in there. So I think, that's really, I think, the key driver for the old Hex. I think the price does need to go up though to make the yield competitive, because we have a lot of competition now in yield, as we just talked about earlier. But certainly something of interest there. Sean says our season. I'm going to have to go to Pump Tires now and find that now. I'm going to go see where that is. But we got the HEX right now. That's kind of where we are. Let's go to the gas prices. We got 830,000 beats, so a bit cheaper, a bit lower on the gas price. Obviously, if we want to get really a deflation on Pulsechain, we need bigger volumes. We need higher gas prices to get that burning, get net deflationary on Pulse. At the moment, we're still, inflationary. We got validators at the moment, 52,500. We lost, about 800 validators. I'm not sure where they've all gone. I'm not sure if someone's done any analysis on that. I'm not sure if they're vouch validators or what, but that's definitely down. We got the bridge right now is at 71.6 million, still holding pretty strong. So that's kind of cool. Sitting nice there, and apparently a lot of these stable coins are sitting idle on Pulsechain. So take note of that, because if they become unidle on thin liquidity, then that's just a source of pumpamentals right there. Let alone bridging over anything over the Pulsechain. So that's kind of cool. And we're going to have Fast Abdul's going to be launching his multi-chain liquidity fork, which is pretty cool. At the moment, we've got at least 4, right? We got the 2 Power City ones, the Liquid Loans one, and Fast Abdul's already got one based on Ink token, which is not on this list for some reason. And then we've got Vault 369 coming, which is going to be multi-chain, which I think, and multi-collateral. So we're excited about that. Very excited. Could be one of the heavyweight blue chips on the old Pulsechain. So we're excited about that. Marketing. No, we've got to see that. Can't just have, obviously Fast Abdul has a pretty big network effect on Pulsechain, but we need marketing. Got to start getting these TVLs up, right? Can't just have a couple $1 million. Let's start going for $10 million. That means partnerships and marketing and things like that. So food for thought, let's say. All right, let's jump over to the markets, and before we get into the top 100 trending, which is the default view here on Dick Screener, let's pull up the old Pulse chart, and let's have a look at that chart overnight, because I want to look just at the action that we had. So let's go here. We'll get rid of all that, and let's have a look at the chart here. So this is the daily chart for Pulse. As Rat Pulse, of course, the DeFi version. But we bounced off that 21 moving average. Everyone who knows in trading knows 21 moving average is very, very important. And, you want to be on the upside of that. Look at that. We're already up on the upside of it for how many days? About 10 days. So it's a very positive sign, guys. And we bounced off the 21 moving average yesterday, which is kind of cool. So looking good here for the old Pulse price, I think. And we battled at that 1/10 of a penny. So if we actually put a little chart in here at, I don't know, that's probably good enough. We actually do a little chart here at 401,000. We had this battle going on, didn't we? Trying to get back over, lose that 0 and get back over there. Looks like we won the battle from my point of view. We certainly got slightly higher lows, so not overly dominant, but it's really the being over that 4 zeros and also being over the 21, which is even probably the most important there, is giving me a lot of excitement for where Pulse is going here. We've obviously got the PRVX launch within the next 24 hours, so that could bring a lot of capital, potentially, a lot of excitement. Hopefully it's not going to be an extraction event, where you got people with PRVX, particularly free PRVX like Buckamentals, and they just dump it and they take the money. Hopefully it's not going to be like that. But there's probably going to be a lot of that in there. So, we'll see. Let's see what happens. Let's see what the net outcome will be. Between buyers and sellers. It's going to be interesting. Now, guys, the technology's fantastic. It's going to, it's designed to disintermediate the central exchanges, etc. It takes time for for people to get awareness of that, right? So, is it going to be a lot of marketing around it? Is Rick going to do online marketing? Because that would be something that would be pretty cool, right? Would he get, potentially, would a couple of key influencers hire? I mean, this is sort of stuff you have to get the word out, right? So there's the question marks over the marketing promotion side. Obviously Richard, when he's live streaming and that, he's a very tour de force. He's a very powerful force. but we still need to see, that sort of side things pick up. We got too many people in the Pulsechain community that think you just put it out there and it's all good, right? But you actually need marketing promotion as well. That's a key thing, and that takes time to develop, and it also takes money to push there. And you also have to know where the best money to be spent. Where do you spend your best money, right? You have to get a good idea of that too. So there's lots of things going on there. 4.0 is 1065 right now, and PRVX. It's going to be, I think, very good. We know that we're going to get a lot of early adoption from Pulsechain developers. Obviously, Liberty Swap's is going to probably lead the way on there. We know Fast Abdul with Vault 369 is going to have it as a early collateral. Things like that. So we got good stuff happening. All the dexes have talked. The PulseX, Batias, obviously Liberty X, Switch from Brandon. All these guys, Internet Money Wallet. They're all going to be, it's all going to be tradable and accessible in terms of the token. And the technology itself, though, we're waiting for that, right? And then also that will take time. Because the fee burn will take time. So I'm not expecting, that to hold the market. We're expecting normal market stuff to hit. So supply versus demand, and what will be the net outcome? Will we see any, will internet sacrifice money be moved for any particular parabolics in the future? God mode candles. I'm not really expecting too much from it, to be honest. I think we're going to have a decent valuation on it, but I think that it's going to be pretty violent, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get that, up and then down, down mark. So we'll keep a lookout. But I actually don't think it's going to go down that much. I think it actually probably hold up at a decent valuation, but certainly off whatever hyper pump it gets in the hype. So after we go through the hype phase at the beginning, we'll find some, I think, a decent value for it, and then it maybe creep up after that. Right, we've got to get to that. Let's find out how many sellers are there. And then after that, maybe it's an opportunity. Maybe it's an opportunity after that. So that would be for PRVX. This has come up with some of my thoughts there. And we've got a lot of unknown variables around that. But yeah, we'll keep a lookout for that. All right, so that's kind of it on Pulse. Let's jump over to so we're looking good, right, on the daily. Looking good there. RSI is around 53. 4 hourly, which is giving us an idea of where it might be going, is also down at 53. And we're also above the 21 moving average for 4 hours. So everything looking pretty good, eh? Pretty good. And we're holding over that 1,000 mark. I like that. And we got a bigger launch coming within the next 24 hours. That could be pretty cool. So we'll see. Hopefully we have net value on Pulse, as long as it doesn't leave Pulsechain, right? That's the question. As long as it doesn't get dumped into ETH and then bridged over, that's where we have problems, particularly. So if it sits in Pulse or something, that's all good. So let's see where that goes. But it's what we see all the time. So we bounced off 7,800. We're currently at 1,065. So we're off the bottom, all-time low. We are up about 37%. But I think, we've got a good chance to keep moving up here. Next target, probably, 1,200 is the case there. We already wicked up to 1148 last night. So let's see how we go. And then after that, I feel like we could target 1437 there, 1437. And then after that is clearly a 1682. We had some resistance here on the horizontal. And then we also got the moving average for 21 on the 4 hour there. So it seems like a pretty good play there on the weekly. So we'll keep a lookout for that. Let's jump over to the trending overnight, though. Obviously, this was looking even better overnight, but of course, with the pullback, we got Lady Gaga, been around for over a year, 191% up right now. Very small volume, 5,400 on very small liquidity. So just take note of that. Very little retail play getting pumped by somebody. Gizmo, been around for a month, up 28% at the moment. And then we've got number 4 is one of the, the outlier hex pairs with 50K. And that's got no volume on it, so that shouldn't even be there. But it's just one of those things. Let's move on from that. We got PGC, the Greys, they're sitting between number 5 and number 8, and they're still up, 5 to 9% depending on the pair. Just looking at all these ones, volumes, pretty low volumes, but they've managed to sit up there. I always look at the pulse pair. None of these are the pulse pair. The die one's not too bad. We've got Liquid Lines number 9 up 4%. Phoenix up 4%. Dow token was doing pretty well yesterday, still up 3%. And then we've got Hex sitting up. Now, Hex was up really well overnight, and Hex is still not too bad. It's still not too bad, sitting at 20/100th of a penny, up 3% right now. Let's have a look at one of the pairs. Let's go to the Hex pair here, and let's have a look at this chart. So on I'm going to ignore the 1 hour, but let's go to the daily on it. We're over that 21 moving average. Fantastic. But look how high we got on the wick. We got up to 2,300 of a penny. Pretty nice little move. Got some nice little structure happening here. So looking good. 4 hourly. Let's have a look at that. The RSI's got plenty of room too. Around 50, 57 on the 4 hourly. We bounced off the 21 moving average for the 4 hourly too. I don't know if we're going to come all the way back down to 2050, but definitely we're looking, positive there. The daily's still got plenty of room to move to the upside, so I still think we're looking pretty good there at the moment. Yeah, it's looking pretty solid there, especially on the daily. We're at 58. Obviously, the weekly is going to be pretty low. Yeah, I mean, we're just coming off the bottom of the weekly. We came off 31, and we're up at 36. So plenty of room to move. A nice weekly target would be 3,300th of a penny. That'd be pretty good, wouldn't it? And I think we've got a bit of resistance at 3,000. But actually, that's probably the target between 3/10 of a penny and 3,300th of a penny. And that would be, 42 to 57%. Maybe PRVX is the thing to do it. Maybe it's going to bring capital in. Hex seems to be pumping on the excitement of PRVX for some reason. We did have a large account sell down the other day. We've had a lot of Hex states come out. I think a lot of them haven't been claimed yet over the last week. And then on the 17th, which is in about 3-4 days, we've got the OA wallet Hex coming out, which is about 33 billion. People wondering what will happen with that. So it's pretty crazy. I probably think it's probably just going to staked again, is my guess. Some people are saying burn it out, so people get all the yield, right? But I don't know. I think we'll probably see it just used to modify inflation, which is what we saw Richard potentially do last year, right? Pull back the inflation on Inc. and Hex. All right, so that's kind of where we are right now on the old Hex. Hex looking good and seems to be getting a lot of support there in the polls. We got a couple other tokens rising up here as well, just sneaking up while we've been looking at Hex, which is Unity up 2.7%. World's greatest PDI printer up 2.5% from OG WebChef. Coming all the way down to number 21 here, we've got X Games showing up still at 0006, 1.8% right now. I don't talk too much about that because it's not running. The game's not out anymore, so I don't really talk too much about those tokens anymore. Doubt token sitting there. We've got quite a few peers of Doubt token, haven't we? All spread around. Sparta is up a little bit. It's not up any. It's up 1/5%, but it's still there. A Hex derivative, right? So it's supposed to be anyway. Although I don't think they've got that much Hex in the treasury, have they? So I don't know. Maybe we should stop talking about that as a treasury. We've got coming down to some of the drama ones, right? So we've got Pump Tire die here at 00017 down a little bit. Let's have a look at that. Pump Tire's die. Now, I've always had an open mind about PDI, but really it's a dog's breakfast. It's had a couple of protocols try to support it. I always enjoyed decentralized me's theories about PDI to $1, but it's never happened, right? It's never happened. So you got to be pretty critical these days of the old PDI. It's got a big community that's in its favor, and they're pretty fierce community. It's got some key influences, so you can't count that down either, like Somi. But even with all that, I think people are pretty exhausted, and they need some pretty special catalyst for that. Liberty Swap often talks about PDI and has it in their protocols, but unless they do something very clever with the mechanism, I don't, maybe arbitraging or something, but I really don't see that working either. But Liberty Swap's got a bit of sway. But they certainly, Liberty Swap's aware that the PDI community is pretty big, and they like that volume coming through. So maybe that's the incentive there. You let me know your thoughts on that. But there's better quality assets on Pulsechain, and so I think that's hopefully capital will flow to quality. That's what we want to see. That's going to make a more valuable chain and less dumpable, right? If the Pulsechain community, more broadly speaking, goes for the good stuff. We're getting more MEV bot protection too. This is one of the cool things from Liberty Swap recently, is this bot protection. We're around MEV, so we're bypassing on MEV bots, so we're going to get less extraction from the bots. We know that day one we've had bots just scraping millions of dollars off the chain, and Dipcatcher has done a lot of good work around that. So let's hope that's where we're going here. But anyway, Pump Tire's die. It only has $1 billion in supply, and it seems to be on a pretty good tier on the daily. Let's go to the weekly on this one, see the wider view. It's coming off the bottom right now, so that's what I'm saying. Even with the down chart, come at the bottom. Let's look at pulse ratio though. to be fair, right? Have a look at pulse ratio. Not too bad, not too bad. A much flatter profile, and it's coming off just under 10, and it's coming up to about 16 and a half, pulse there on the old pump tires die. So, possibly a lot better than the actual fork P die, which is what everyone talks about, is that maybe the pump tires die. Sitting, the market cap's still pretty small, 175, but certainly, a little retail play there. Vouch. Now, Vouch is a heavyweight, right? Vouch is, I think, the number one validator, about 8-9% of the validators, I think it is. The other big one that you can do delegation in is Validator X from, was it Plus X, I think it is. And that is from Haunted, right? So Haunted did that one. And this one is Vouch. And Vouch is had some unusual sell down event the other day, but it has had them before, right? Has had them before. We saw it back here in December as well, where I guess, and depending on, I guess, people, if they're unstaking from the Vouch protocol, whether they have to give up validators as well to, cash them out. So I think, that is a mechanism. Certainly something I want to investigate further, but I think that is how it's working. And in any case, that was a bit of an event on the price chart there, way greater than Pulse coming back, right? Because, Vouch really should move up and down with Pulse. Just like we talk about Bitmine immersion with the digital asset strategy moving up and down with Ethereum, but then leveraging as it builds out an ecosystem, like having a leverage on that, we should see Vouch move up and down. Now, I'm not sure whether they've got much of a leverage play in there, but that's something that developers should be thinking about, especially with some of the big ones, is how they can get that multiplier effect against the underlying asset, right? So some interesting areas there, and there's some good examples out there that maybe be able to be copied onto Pulsechain. So certainly an area of research and stuff like that to be done. We've got Vinny in the house there. Hey all, let's go. Absolutely, Vinny. So yeah, we've got 4 zeros, 1378 right now on the old Vouch. And yeah, we're going to keep a look at that. But I think, otherwise a very good project, and possibly underpriced right now. 1.3 million market cap. Only got 80k liquidity in the main pair, but certainly something to food for thought there. One of our better products, I would say, overall. What else? Let's scroll down here. We're going to go a bit further down here. We've got for Investor at the moment, $1.93. Had a little run in it, but it's back down at $1.93 right now. It's funny enough, we've got Ink Dollar there, Fast Abdul, and he's about to launch Vault 369 protocol, but that's at a premium, $1.02, so a little premium there. Now, what else have we got going? We got, let's scroll down here a little bit. Mafia from Rack and Michelle, our big VC whale, is sitting at 49 cents right now. Not really. I got a little bit out of touch with that when I was on holiday, etc. But I'm hoping to catch up a little bit on that. I know there's been a change of the guard. Triple Dad's no longer the COO or operations manager for that, or developer, founder. So that's changed. So we're going to keep a lookout. There's also news on Coinwell, marketing for Coin Mafia and Coinaki, right? We're waiting for those as well. Coinwell going to be another liquidity fork, multi-chain, similar, but I don't think it's going to be similar actually in many ways. I think from Fast Abdul, there will be differences, of course. I don't want to say they're the same, but we'll see what happens in that space. The only thing I'll say is that we'll probably get. My guess is we'll probably get Vault 369 launching first. What else we got going? Let's scroll down here. We got a lot of these are all in the red, by the way. We're the red. So we got a lot of OG Web Chef in the red. Everything's kind of in the red. INC in the red. Let's see. Peacock here taking. So Peacock did pretty well overnight, didn't it? But it came down with the markets. It is a bit of a leverage. Struggling to really break the 2 cent mark, despite all the awesome products. But I still think that it's like a week delay. Like you have the launches, and then it's like. The market sells the news, and a week later, then the price starts going back up. I'm pretty sure that's what's been happening. I have to overlay the chart with their launches, but I'm pretty sure that's what's been happening here. And we're still kind of stuck in that kind of wedge thing. And it's looking very good for a breakout, obviously. But and we've got more products coming. Like we've got the XZX wallet coming. We've got limit orders coming. And what else is coming? We've got a Liberty Lean coming, so and more DeFi hooks. I mean, it's going to be a huge system. So yeah, not too slow on this one. So we're sitting at 1.8. Let's have a look at this chart on the hourly though. It's the weekly chart. On the hourly, though, we were all the way up. Look at this. We got the 2.1 cents, so we were almost about on that breakout. And then this is on the hourly chart, and then we came all the way back down to 1840. We're now 1870. The ratio to pulse, though, is what's most important, as you guys know. If you're trying to gain more pulse, well, that is really tempting on that 21 moving average there on the daily. We're at 70.55. We came off 1900. So an all-time high is 2031. So it's still pretty elevated. But even this is after the PRVX launch, which is amazing, right? So you can go and buy, basically a DEX aggregator with MEV bot protection and free gas, and that's ticking away. So let's look at 4 hour on this chart. 4 hour, not quite oversold, 39, but it has bounced from this range a lot. So obviously it needs to bounce from there. Got some underlying support at just above 1700 there, and that is the daily. So let's go have a look and see what Liberty Swap there has got in terms of any updates. This is pretty much for me the Kraken on Pulsechain, kind of the number one project on Pulsechain. Keeps delivering a top tier, frontier products, and it's going to continue all year. These guys continue rolling out alpha products nonstop. It is pretty awesome stuff. These guys have really changed the game on Pulsechain and setting. We've got good teams like Fast Abdul and Liberty and other projects, but Liberty Swap is really leading the way there. And I would say Internet Money Wallet is the other big one that's been leading the way on Pulsechain, right? So kind of cool. 21 hours ago, we got Liberty X is back. They had to do a few changes there. We've added batch RPCs and improved MEV protection with fallback security to protect traders from bot attacks. Wallet connectors fixed. Limit orders and TWAP or time-weighted average orders are on the way. 0 fees, best rates only, gasless transactions. So pretty cool. You can find that on the Liberty Swap DApp now. And you can go from all sorts of things from Pulse to Peacock, all sorts of assets. So pretty awesome there. What else? So that is from them. That was 21 hours ago. We'll go past that. They're obviously, adding in. Not only do they have fees that they earn from their products like bridging and everything, but and on other chains as well, not just Pulsechain, but they also do a lot of buying in addition. They got capital, they bring in all the time, and they buy extra. So they're really, backing up with their own financial capital. Question mark is who's the backers here? We do know Crypto Sparbook's definitely a team, which suggests to us that it's a European team. And if it's a European team and it's doing a lot of the vision stuff of Richard Hart, then I don't know. Is it connected to Richard Hart? That's the thing. Well, you've got two different stories connected to Richard Hart, right? We got this Liberty Swap thing, which looks very Richard Harty, and then we got this, with some really great smart people in it. And then we've got this back channels through Captain RG3 sort of thing back into Richard Hart. So there's some interesting stuff there going on. Let me know your thoughts about all that in the chat. I saw your comment there, X1 Block, but you're not something we're probably going to cover today. All right, so we got that happening 9 hours ago. Hi, friends. Liberty Swap Private Routes and Liberty Shield have been handling a lot of railgun volume lately. That's really good to see. It's really good to see. And once people start using privacy solutions, they're starting to use that now. Typically, people that want privacy will use this first. They'll go the extra mile. They'll download a railway wallet and they'll actually learn how to do this and get it going. The big players typically like this, right? Because they like to protect their value. And we got this is in response to Railgun itself. I guess pretty cool. So Railgun officially there, and of course Liberty Swap playing their way. So pretty awesome. Actually, I was going to respond to that, but we'll leave that for the time being. What else there? 9 hours ago, aggressive market your coins, your products, my Pulsechain friends. This is what I've said, right? I've said this for some time. As you guys know, the Crypto Night Show does professional promotion. We got the professional publication of the Monster Thread, the hottest weekly news on Pulsechain every week, along with MVS Crypto, who's the editor-in-chief and the promotional lead for the Monster for the Crypto Night Show and the Monster Thread. But we also do promotions, right? So because we identified what was it? How long ago now? It's been 44 weeks of the Monster Thread, so 44 weeks ago at least. But we were doing it slightly before that as well, helping teams get themselves promoted. So if you're a team out there, you want to get promotions support, then hit the Crypto Night Show up, either MVS or myself, and we can help you out with that. at very good rates. I mean, we're talking about the best rates in the market, honestly. There are only a couple other promoters on Pulsechain that do promotional work. Their rates are probably 3 times higher, and the effectiveness is probably 3 times lower. So just take note of that. Yeah, it's a best in breed service for sure. And Pulsechain needs it, guys. Pulsechain needs it. And you can go and ask the teams. Some teams do some fantastic products, but they don't reach the market, and they're frustrated. How do I reach the market? Well, you've got to, get yourself out there, and you've got to, put a bit of your capital allocation towards that. That's just the reality. We know Richard Hart's done that, right? Millions of dollars into iPads, along with the rest of the sponsors, with the iPad promotions. That marketing has to be done. It's just the way the world works. You got to reach the market, right? So aggressively market your coins and your products, my Pulsechain friends. Now you can do a lot with your own zone, right? You can get on X, and you can get on other platforms and spread the word. And you just have to be consistent with that. So we encourage that as well. Obviously, teams can get out there and do that. We've got some good teams, I think, that are small teams that do that, that are building, got great products, building great brands. I'm thinking of RhinoFi does particularly well with consistently promoting themselves. They're very good at that. There's a lot of big teams that don't do it enough, and I could name some, but I'll let them self-reflect on that themselves. So lots of opportunity there to do that, to really, self-promote in the first instance, and then, look for supportive promotions. But there's not a lot of opportunities to do that within the Pulsechain community, like I say, and the best in breed is the Kryptonite Show, supporting teams and our publication with the Monster Thread. So it is pretty exciting stuff happening there. Now, beyond that, you've then got to go to platform promotions, right? So you got to go pay Deck Screener or something. You got to go out and get promotions on platforms, which is a lot more expensive, right? So a lot more expensive there. So just take note of those things. So pretty cool there from Liberty Swap. Now we're expecting Liberty Swap has teased it several times that they're going to be doing some big promotions coming up. So I think what they're going to be doing is rolling out a certain amount of their ecosystem. Remember that with Liberty Swap 2.0, they've added this feature to be able to hook in DeFi, which is pretty amazing. I mean, the system could be pretty big that they're creating. And they're kind of like our digital asset treasury in some ways. If you think about it, they got the big bridge, they got all the swapping. They're really taking over. They're really vampiring the old chain. So it's pretty cool. So there's some food for thought there. And I just think that they're going to be at some stage really ramping up their promotion. And of course, that's going to help them get their top target for the Peacock, which is top 50, right? Top 50. But I'm actually more interested in them becoming $1 billion meme. So there's a bit of work to be done. A lot of work to be done in that sake, but they're the best chance, the quality team, professional team to do it. So keep a lookout for that. What else? Risk management and liquidity. We're going to move past all those sort of technical things. Let's see. Bridge to Pulsechain now. What are you waiting for? That's 48 minutes ago. Now, obviously, we got PRVX launching, so they're excited about that too. And they'll be going to Liberty Swap's going to be a fast early adopter of PRVX, right? That's going to be pretty cool. Now, Vault 369 was going to be doing that too, but if they haven't, they're in public testing, but if they haven't launched yet, then they're going to be, second wave at this stage, unless they decide to launch when next week. They could do that, launch next week. I don't know. Fast they'll do. You're going to drop any alpha in the chat? Let us know. I don't know if he's still watching, but if he is, there's a challenge for you. There's a challenge. All right, so kind of cool. That is some of the stuff happening there. With the old Liberty Swap, and we're excited to see where that all goes. Let's see what else is down here at the moment that's in the red, right, after the big pump overnight. Pump Tires is down 6% right now. What else? Let's scroll down here. What is down pretty severely? I've got to be careful with the liquidity, right? So I always need to check that first. There's not a lot of liquidity going on here. Was it someone else? Oh, Stacks. Oh, actually, I wasn't going to comment on that, but since it's here, I'll have a quick look. Do you think Pulsechain can recover on Stacks? Found it added LP after dump. Yeah, well, it got dumped 78%. So my point of view on that is that it's extremely high risk, and there's some shenanigans going on. That doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. But LP's been added, so the markets will do what they're going to do, right? The markets will do what they're going to do. I'll just leave that there. Buyer beware. Do your own due diligence, all that good stuff. It scares me when I see little red candles like that, and talking about it on live stream. Not a great thing. Once again, if people want to look at things like that, they can in their own time. What else there? We got BB in house there. Faster Door has so many coins. Awesome. How many coins is it? I mean, I know he's got Ink Printer and he's going to have Vault 369. That's 2 coins. Does he have other ones? I don't know if he's got non-liquid. Those are both liquidy forks, so I don't know if that's the case. Let's actually have a look at Vault. Vault must be around somewhere. See if we have a quick look at Vault. Vault 369. This looks like the one. 18k liquidity. It's pre-launch, right? The protocol hasn't launched, but it's in public testing as I understand it. And the charts are moving sideways. So this market cap at the moment is 221k. Liquidity is 18, pretty small. And the volume is pretty small at $760. So this could be a little sleeper, right? Because the project hasn't launched. And if this end up going at a couple $1 million in TVL, what's it going to mean for the market cap, at least for a period of time? Yeah, I mean, Liquid Loan's got a big market cap, but I don't know if it's TVL. I don't know what the TVL to market cap. I'm not sure what the Liquid Loans is at the moment. But we've got 221 right now. Let's go look at Liquid Loans, shall we? And let's do quick. Now, Liquid Loans obviously has the stable coin as well. But let's have a look at Liquid Loans here. Now, as you guys know, Liquid Loans was the third biggest sacrifice after Pulsechain and Pulsex, sitting at about $52 million. It's been highly criticized. It's not been criticized for delivering the products. It's delivered its products. It's delivered Liquid Loans, delivered the multi-chain. What was it? Let me think. Multi-chain wallet? No, that's not that. What's the wallet? Damn it, I had it in my head and it just skipped it. It's twice today it's happened. Chainx, is it? No, Pulse Chainx, something like that. It's a wallet, multi-signature wallet. Well, I've forgotten what it's called, but anyway, so it's launched that, and it's also launched the basic Oracle, hasn't it? So that's kind of the play. I think the Oracle has a few issues, maybe, I'm not sure, but in terms of limitations. But at the moment, we've got a market cap of 430k for Liquid Loans. But let's have a look at what the TVL is sitting in the project. We've got Liquid Loans better than a bank, built for smart there. Base chain as well. I didn't know they were on base chain, but Pulse chain. Let's have a look here. We got the data at the bottom. I thought we had the data at the bottom here. Let's go launch the iPad there. So we've got a market cap of 430k. Liquidity is only 47 in this peer, which I think is the main peer. And that's been highly criticized, right? Because they got $52 million. They are doing a lot of crypto promotions, going around doing a lot of conferences, which is, probably the main people doing it outside maybe Matty Allen and a few others. But let's have a look. Is this going to actually give us the data? It's not even popping up with the data. Do I have to connect a wallet or something? I thought they normally just had the collateral in here. I thought it normally showed up. Let's go to analytics, shall we? If the analytics shows it. Oh, they want me to connect the wallet. I didn't realize they didn't used to have that requirement to connect the wallet. That's not helping me do what I was going to do. Damn it! I don't want to connect the wallet at the moment. So I don't know. I don't know what the TVL is on that, but if it's it's a lot bigger than 430k, right? So with the stablecoin, I'm sure it's a couple $1 million. In fact, let's go to GoPulse. Let's go GoPulse, and let's have a look at the liquidity forks again, and let's see what we can find. So USDL is currently 2.6 million issuance. Obviously, there's staked. We know how much USDL there is in terms of supply. The stake loan, I'm not sure how much is staked in there at the moment, but that's kind of irrelevant because it's all based on liquid loan price. So we're looking at 2.6 million, but the market cap is only 400k there. So it's relatively small. What's maybe 10%, something like that, is it? 20%. And so yeah, we've got a little pump in there, but really off the bottom, not doing too hot. So but I think Vault 369 probably going to do better in that regards. Yeah, and I think good chance that Vault 369 could do more than 2.6 mil. So I'm actually pretty optimistic. Faster Abdul's pretty well connected, done a lot of live streams as well with multiple influencers, etc. And his ink print is performing pretty well. So we're kind of excited about where that will go. It's going to be multi-chain, so you got all that and multi-collateral. And so yeah, let's see what happens. Bit of marketing though might get it to tens of millions. Can it be done? We'll keep a lookout for that. All right, so that's pretty much it on that one. So we've covered a lot of stuff, haven't we? We've covered what have we covered? We covered Ethereum and Bitcoin rally, pump and dump overnight, but looking optimistic to the upside. We've covered strategy and stretch, which are game changers for digital treasury and the privacy rocket or airplane, as they call it, harvesting TradeFi into Bitcoin and crypto. We talked about Bitmine Immersion, Tom Lee and ARK. They're buying up digital IDs and AI and expanding the takeover of equities and financial markets with Ethereum. It's a powerhouse. We talked about Pulsechain. PRVX is launching within the next 24 hours, we believe. And what will it do to the chain? Well, we saw Hex already liked it a little bit. We got a bit of a leading some of the pumps. So good stuff to happen. I don't know. Will Vault 369 launch next week, Monday, and because PRVX is launching? I don't know. We'll see what happens all there. It's going to be fun to see. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Now in 20 minutes, we went pretty long today, but I may do another live stream later today. You just never know. Until then, take care, everybody, and hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe and to YouTube. We're on the Pulsechain X. We're on Superman Crypto. We're on the Crypto Night Show, 3 YouTube channels. We're also on X, of course, heading towards 1,500 followers. So smash the follow button and get us there. I used to have 6,500 on my old account. It got taken down for no good reason, which is pretty sad. But we're building back because that's what we do in life, right? Always a cup half full. Remember that. So if you're a cup half empty person, flip it on its head and become a cup half full person, and always look for opportunities, optimism, etc., all that good stuff, because your life will be way better, way better. We got Vinny in house. Can you please show the PRVX chart if you already have? Sorry, no, I was late. No, I haven't shown the PRVX chart, but that's probably going to crash. Let's have a quick look at that while we're here. Let me have a look, see if I can find it. PRVX. I saw someone say it might 90% crash. I think it was Brandon. Probably true. It's only got 10K liquidity, is it? I've got to make sure there's 2 PRVXs are running around. I guess it's the white hat one, right? The white one. We got Private Power, which is the other one, right? So, and PRVX here. Yeah, he's talking. I think he's talking about the old charts, Sammy. I think he's talking about the old the pump tires token there. The question is, will that collapse? Right? Will that collapse? And I suggest it probably will. There's not a lot of liquidity in there, guys. There's like 10K liquidity. I'll show you the chart, but I'm not endorsing anything. Of course, you know how we roll. But it looks like the PRVX one I think you're talking about, which I think was the pump tires one. And it's had a pump over the last 2 days on the excitement, but actually, it hasn't got a lot of liquidity. 10K, not going to do a lot, right? Not going to do a lot. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Fat Sam, it's live already? No, I don't believe so. No. The Richard Hart token is not alive yet. That's just one of the pump tire things that's going on. We've got other ones like we've got this PRVX Private Power. We got this PRVX one here, fake out one here. No liquidity. So once again, don't wait for the official announcement from Richard. And Richard hasn't done any announcements. We got to do the markets here. It's always people always be, yeah, well said. RH said it's launched. Yeah, well, RH, I haven't seen anything on that before the live stream started on RH, so I'm happy to check it up now. 1 hour ago. So PRVX there. So yeah, we got Vinny's in the house as well. Yeah, well, RH said it launched. Yeah, well, we're looking at that now. I thought you were talking about one of the old PRVX tokens. So we do have an update. This is during the live stream. We got PRVX here, has launched at 0 value, and people have been trading their coins around 0 value for almost a day now. That's funny. You have had dominion and control of your PRVX for almost a day now. Strongly consider transferring your coins around at 0 value now. Perhaps a great place. Now, obviously, it has to start at 0 because it's a sacrifice, right? It's perhaps a great place to solidify your cost basis at 0. This helps prevent claims that you've received income. Contract address, of course, is 30B11. So we'll pop that in there as well. Pulsechain verified code for the PRVX token. We've got that there, the repo. The coins can be sent to smart contracts until block, 2.6 million, no, 26 million, I should say, which is estimated to occur at, What was it? Coins can be sent to smart contracts. Coins can't be sent to smart contracts until this point, which is March the 14th. So I'm not sure what block we're on right now, but we got Pulsechain Block Explorer. I'm sure we got the Block Explorer there. Which one have we got? So we have the which one's the Block Explorer on here? So look, Pulsechain stats. No, I forget that. Let's go to this is Block Explorer. I can't remember which one the Block Explorer. Let me just find my Block Explorers here. Let me just find Block Explorer. The Block Explorer they have. I don't know what these links are that I've got up here. Trying to find it. Let's see. I have heaps of these links, but yeah, it's all pretty confusing after a while. Where's my Block Explorer? Oh, there's the Block Explorer. We'll use that one. I've got the Pulsechain one too. I got the Pulsechain one. Now, thanks, Vinny, for that, because we hadn't looked at the Richard Art one. I had looked at it before the live stream, but there was nothing there. So it's good that we picked that up during the live. I've been live for an hour and 20 minutes, so it happened about 20 minutes after I started my live stream. But that's not really, it's not gone into LP yet, right? Because it can't be transferred to smart contracts. So it's just sitting on people's wallets. That's basically, I think, what Richard's saying. It's at zero value. Right, so what does it? We got the block here. Sorry, I'm just waiting for it to render. It seems to be taking ages to render. So let me just let that render first. Let's see. Let's go back to the screen. It's a black screen here. All right, so we got the coins can't be sent to smart contracts until block 2.6 million, 9,137. I'm waiting for this to render here on Midgard, but it's taking ages for some reason. And I'm just trying to see when the block is. The coins can't be sent, which is 14th. It's going to be was it 20? So what's that? 8:30 Eastern. I guess that's easier. That's a faster way of doing it rather than waiting for the Block Explorer to render. Some stupid reason. I don't know why they take so long sometimes. There must be some reason about that. For all the IT geeks, let me know. Yeah, so we're 10:30 on the 13th right now. So we've still got a long way to go. So 10:30. We've still got 8. So what's it? 22 hours or something is it to go? Unless you're on the whitelist and timer all expire at the same time. Verified code on the repo there. If you originally sacrificed using Tron, you must import your private key, not your mnemonic, into a NVM compatible wallet such as MetaMask. This is because Tron EVM-based networks derive different addresses from the same mnemonic. Using your mnemonic in an EVM wallet will generate a completely different address. The sacrifice will not appear. You can use PRVX software at .prvx.com to help out with that. So there we go. We'll have to repost that, I guess. So that is the latest from Richard on that. So I just reposted that one 2 minutes ago. How much liquidity and paired with what do you wish the PRVX coin to be in 24 hours? Explained verbosely, which is pretty unusual. I always find it pretty unusual when Richard goes to the market asking about that. But you guys let me know what you think. All right, I just realized something. I've got to change something here. We're going live. We're going live. You can't finish the live stream when you've got the got some emails. Sorry, what was it? X posts from Richard. All right, so there we go. We fixed that up. All right, so exciting times, guys. We've got PRVX launched. Well, we knew it, so there's nothing really changed from what we already knew. But he's talking about liquidity now. This is something new. How much liquidity and paired with what do you wish the PRVX coin to be in 24 hours? Explained previously. So yeah, I said about 22 hours, right? And it's still not rendering here on Midgard. What the hell? What the hell? It's not Midgard's fault, I'm sure, but it's a pain in the ass. Why it's not? It happens a lot, actually, too much when I'm doing live streams. I'm not sure whether it's an overload on the Chrome browser or whatever it is. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? Crazy. Hey, do you notice I got flashing lights on me today? Did anyone notice that? Because I got this little lights next to me that when I talk, the lights go all great, do all this cool stuff. So yeah. So no chart yet. No chart yet. Yeah, that's right, Fat Sammy. No chart yet. But liquidity at what prices? Explain verbosely. Above my pay grade. What else we got there? There's what is it? Peacock and PRVX both have a buy and burn mechanism. Rat Pulse for sure. Yeah, I guess so. Pulsex buy and burn, baby. Yeah, that makes sense too. Pair of PDC. Yeah. So we've got a lot of the popular tokens popping up, right? That's no surprise there. PDI, 10 billion shamillion PDI. I don't know. PDI is down the pecking order for me. It's very speculative. Hasn't really, like I say, hasn't really done much. The people keep pushing it. They go, you don't know what you're talking about. It's going to be amazing. I said, well, you already had multiple protocols and you've already had multiple attempts, and it's store dog's breakfast. Fat Sammy says, I did notice the lights. Yes. All right, so that's kind of where we are right there. Now, look, someone may do it. Someone may launch a protocol, may do something that supports PDI and gets it to $1, but it's had multiple attempts, and it's a dog's breakfast. It's a dog's breakfast. Right, so that is from Richard. So get your things in. If you got opinions on that, let them know. Obviously, Pulse there. I don't know. I have a feeling I'd like to see something on the Ethereum side, right? So that we can arbitrage between the two chains. Yeah, so it'd be cool to get that. Also makes it more accessible to all the rich ETH bros over on Ethereum, all the whales. I can't remember who did the research. It was a while back, but I'm pretty sure when Hex did 10,000X that it was like 1 in 3. Now there was a cutoff. I can't remember what the cutoff was, but 1 in 3 ETH whales had interacted with Hex during the 10,000X time. Fat Sammy, you might remember that. Or some OG, you might remember that. But I think it was like 1 in 3, which is a heck of a lot. That's a lot of rich people. Obviously, God Whale. Have we seen anything from the God Whale for a long time? Not for a long time, I'm sure. Now, obviously, ETH. If ETH goes up to a lot, I'm sure the God Whale will participate in the old Pulsechain. So yeah, let's keep a look out. But then PRVX there. How much liquidity? What do you reckon? You want to start off cheap, right? Let the price pump, but you got to have an adequate amount of liquidity. I don't know. What do you guys think would be a good starting amount? $1 million. I don't know. What do you guys reckon? 250K? Let it really climb, but that's going to be dumpable, right? I know this kind of thing. You have to head. What are you trying to create? What's your objective with the protocol value? Just kick it off. What are you wanting to? You want to have it big enough that decent players can come in, right? But what's a decent player on Pulsechain? That's the thing. Not what might be a decent player in the future, but what's a decent player in the Pulsechain there. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Market caps, like we just looked at, liquid loans is only what was that? 400,000. So I don't know. Let's go have a look at Dick Screener and let's have a look. Let's be a little bit playful, this. If we look at market caps at the moment, obviously we've got the Richard Cause. I'm gonna ignore the remember one. We got Richard Cause, sitting up here. We've got big market caps, 5 billion, 1 billion. It takes all the tokens into account for X. We've got 1 billion there for Pulsex and market caps. And then we get down into the teams, right? Sun Mineral, 258 million. Mafia, 49 million. Now, obviously, there's a liquidity ratio to market. You could, look at all that. PDC now, 44 million. And of course, we know that's one of the biggest LP pools. Incentive token, 26 million. Then we get into Peacock, right? Peacock, 18 million, which I think is a pretty realistic one, right? I think Peacock's a pretty realistic one there versus the LP size. Then we get into Tropa, a UFO from PDC. So you can already see the top ones, right? Which we pretty much know. Richard Cause, Saul San Minimio, Peacock, UFO, PDC. I think they're all pretty expected. We used to have SolidX. SolidX used to be a big player. Not now, though, right? Not now. And then you get into some of the meme coins after that, right? So that's kind of the play. But then you want to look at, I guess, the liquidity ratio to market cap, right? To give a sense of realism, you'd have to, do all that. So let's go have a look at liquidity. We're going to ignore the Tropa stuff at the moment. That's James Maria stuff, which is fine, but we'll just ignore that for a moment. Then you got Pulsex. You got Zero Trust in there, apparently. Now, that's Zero Trust with Peacock. So remember, not Pulse. I like to get the Pulse one. We got Ink to Pulsex. That's probably fine. What else there? Doubts. Let's see here. We got the Stacks one that you just talked about earlier. Like I say, it's a bit weird when you got an 80% crash in that. Looks a bit manipulated there. What else? We got Hex Pulse there. 733. So probably, you have to qualify all these, but, Hex is pretty realistic. PTC the Grey is pretty realistic. I think we can say those are pretty realistic numbers. Obviously, they are what they are, but actually, they're supported, kind of supported the community. Saw some mini meal, 437. UFO, 378. Peacock, biggest one is 372, but they've got, probably 4 main peers, and then, was it like 230 others or something? LP pools tied in. So those are kind of the play there. So, what do you want to get? Something like that, something in that kind of category of probably Peacock or Hex, Hex even. Now the market cap's not really mattered too much, right? It's the total amount of coins, but you want to start off a relatively low market cap. I don't know. What do you think, guys? Think maybe 100 mil, 20 mil, something like that, and then your liquidity needs to be just appropriate to it, right? You want to have it decent enough. So yeah, I kind of feel like it, around $750 to $1 million would probably be pretty good. Is there enough money floating around Pulsechain at the moment? Well, that's the question. And if not, then you probably want it more like around Peacock, maybe around 400 or 500k or something, maybe 250 to 500. That's pretty small though, right? So I don't know, maybe 500 to $1 million at the minimum. Let me know your thoughts on that in the chat. Just a fun thing there. And some, Richard was talking about stable coins versus Pulse. But we're at the bottom of the market, so you want to get to the Pulse, don't you, and get it riding up that way. Yeah. So food for thought there. What else? We got any more from Richard? Let's quickly check. We're doing an extended live stream since Richard's posting. So that's pretty much it at the moment. Let's see what else we got. Let's see if we got other people's answers. We're so early. We got Maddie Allen here. Paint the chart before unlock at 1 to 10 sack rate. Then at launch, put 800k of Pulse and 800k of PRVX there. So that'd put you, 1.6 at V2 sack rate, 5% of non-OA, 6 million sack for each side. Then juice up an ink farm to incentivize additional LP. I don't know if he's going to be doing that. I don't think any of them are juiced up right now. It's not a bad idea. I think like the numbers all make sense. Market will do price discovery based on what works elsewhere in DeFi. Yeah. Paint the chart before unlock, then a launch at 800k. Yeah, it seems pretty good to me. I got PRVX there. Yeah. What else? Fat Sammy's in the house. So Fat Sammy's here. I would like to see it launch on ETH chain with Pulse to attract the wealthy ETH participants. Still drives up Pulse prices on Pulsechain. Necessary and arbitrage. Yeah, like that too. What else there? We already read that one, right? Above my pay grade. I think that's funny. Pulse on that one. Pulse. Dylan Existentially in here. He's part of the. He's one of the 2 guys from the Buckamentals, right? I'm pretty sure, Dylan. Slowly add liquidity with Pulse, 60% in ETH and stables 2020. This may be a happy medium since Pulse value has perhaps now found its fair value. May actually be a positive. Yeah, which is my argument I made with the rest of the eco. Before Pulse still had an overvalued state, along with all cores. I think it's much more fair value now as it currently sits here. So I agree with that. If you want complete disconnection, just pair with ETH. That way there is any chance of Pulse6, Ink or X as any downside. It's not effectively PRVX. The bar for PRVX is plenty low enough, so that could do well. Could have seen the buyers liquidity in farms with whatever is decided. That's another one from, where do we see that from? Maddie Allen, and discussed via subsidizing ink issuance slightly higher to not affect their farms, meaning you change the weights, which would drop APY, but if you slightly increase the ink, it levels out like nothing unchanged. Hope this helps. Yeah. So, I think there's some things not too bad there. Brazology says, my only problem with pairing it to Pulse is the constant selling from the validator class. Pulsex and DAI is probably the best peers. Pulsex is a good alternative, right? So Pulsex is a pretty good alternative there. I don't know. Yeah, you'd have to add up the Pulse, the validator selling. But apart from that, yeah, and validating is not very profitable at the moment, right? So maybe Pulsex is a better peer. Gives Pulsex a better life as well. Pulsex is actually deflationary, where we're 8.66% burn. So that's actually not a bad alternative. So some good ideas there. Guo says, if goal is long-term strength of Pulsechain, I'd aim for 2 billion liquidity structured mainly inside the ecosystem. I don't know if he meant 2 billion there. Maybe he meant 2 million. 800 million Pulse anchors it to be the gas shows there. 500 million Hex PRVX. Pulsex there, 400 million. Pulsex there. I don't know what he's talking about there, but it's funny. That's hilarious. All right, we got PDC, the most liquid deflationary. Richard's not going to do a non-Richard coin, right? Even if it's considered a top coin on Pulsechain, a premium coin, I think some people say. Richard's not going to do that, right? That makes no sense. It includes, BTC or Peacock or anything like that. What else have we got? George on Pulse says, "Hey Richard, for PRVX Prime LP, go heavy on stablecoin pairing, PDI or PUSD." Now the other one, of course, is that Richard was talking about using staked, cryptos. So you got the leverage on there. It's earning stake yield. So that could be another one way he goes. So we'll see. Without tying success to pulse action. Well, it's kind of an irony here because pulse action is what you want. You want pulse demand, right? You want Pulse to come in and buy PRVX. You want to put demand on Pulse. Otherwise, if you don't put demand on Pulse, then what's the point of Pulse? You know what I mean? Like it's the fee coin. Now we're not getting into the bigger picture of why even do Pulsechain versus Hex with the S-load function, all that sort of stuff, and that's another debate. But because now you've got all the coins, the fork coins. But Pulse, I think Pulse has to be the main one because you got to push demand into Pulse, right? Otherwise you're assuming, PRVX is not going to be successful. Is that what we're saying? You can make PRVX, the technology I'm talking about, the underlying technology, and therefore PRVX, its tokens should be successful. That's the idea because it's going to be burning it right with all the fees. You're going to back Pulse or not? And we are at the bottom. I think Dylan was pointing out the same thing I said, which is aren't we at some kind of fair value, or at least maybe discounted value? Pulse too cheap. Pulse too cheap, which I think it is. I think it's too cheap. That's why I think it's it's due for an upside, due for a trend reversal. And what is cheap in crypto, right? It's just to some degree it's perception and momentum, but we've got more work to be done on the old Pulse chain. 10 million liquidity feels right, says Zach. I just think that that's pretty big compared to what we saw with Pulsex and what do we see with Hex. Let's go to the market for Hex. So this just quickly. Actually, we got Pulsechain stats. So let's see Pulsechain stats here. Pulsechain stats, and let's have a look at some of the liquidity here. Pulsechain stats. What's it? Liquidity. So I think we have Hex liquidity is the smallest, right? We've got 1.7 million Hex liquidity. So Hex liquidity is 1.7, all added all up. Talking about 10 million, it's pretty high. So 10 pretty high. So I was saying 500 to a million, right? That's kind of what I said. But if you're gonna, because you want to have enough money for people to come in and not bigger players to come in. And this is the whole point. While Liberty Swap's been building up Peacock LP is to allow bigger players to come in. Otherwise, you're stuck down with the lower, smaller tokens that are fine, if they've got small retail play. But this is not supposed to be a retail play. It's supposed to be, one of the premium players, right? If not, maybe it's the new kingpin. Maybe it's the crown of Hex, as it were. I don't know. So 10 million, So I'll probably leave that at the moment. But maybe a couple of million, maybe 2-3 mil. I don't know. Maybe that's right. But if you know there's going to be bigger players, then 10 million probably is right. Right. So if you have confidence that you're going to get the bigger players, then 10 mil. Maybe you start off real big, but there's a lot of dumpability into 10 mil, right? You don't want to really do that too much. So I think the 5% rule is pretty nice. Typically 5%, LP to market cap, and start off small, but 5% of the PRVX sacrifice funds probably seems about right, doesn't it? And then you can use the rest to parabolic the chart over time. What do you guys reckon? Let me know what you think. Smash some subscribes, says Crypto Jacks. I like that. You always come in with the alpha, and got the old Superman as well. More people are posting, may need a refresh on the page. Are they? Well, we're just going through some of these at the moment. So should be paired with stables and ETH so that lettuce hands don't bring down the chain. Boy, that's a bit scary, isn't it? It's a bit scary when you got people so nervous now because we're down at 1/10 of the sacrifice price. People are so scared to be tied with Pulse. But you want Pulse. You want Pulse. You want to support Pulse. So you're either in on Pulse. Now you don't have to go all Pulse, but you want to be majority Pulse on the LP. Otherwise, have Pulse. Otherwise, why have Pulse? It's like later on have Pulse. I mean, that'd be the counter argument. Later on, we'll get Pulse once Pulsechain decides it's going to go back up. Get a revalue. So I guess it'll be the counter argument then. Rat Pulse for short says Trump. It's a must. Use value to buy up Pulse. Yeah, and pure with Hart's law. Absolutely, and that's the argument, right? So that's the main argument, I would say. It's a leverage play and a half on the Ethereum, way better, and that's why I like the Ethereum side, because then you got arbitrage, and that's just builds up on everything Liberty Swap and other people are doing. Getting access to that. So Partisan says PDI. Screw PDI. No. PDI there. PDI's just another coin out there. I mean, let's think about it. It's another coin. It's not any other coin. It's definitely got a big community, like I said earlier, and influences, but really it's just not delivering, right? It's just not delivering. And one day it might. If they get a protocol, I think there's been 3 fails so far. So yeah, that's kind of it there. Let's scroll back here. Let's go to Richard again, see if he's got anything else at the moment. Let's see. We're going extra long live show because we got this new drop about LP. That's probably the important part, right? We've got about 22 hours, I think it is. He says 24, but I think it's about 22 based on this stuff. We got any more? Brandon. So this is Brandon's always good at this stuff. So I always say my 2 cents. Start the asset with a pulse pair to establish price discovery. Yeah, we agree with that. I think that's good. The LP can be relatively thin at first, since its main role is just to create initial market. Agree. We're supposed to be starting at 0, right? It's supposed to be starting 0. Fat Sammy says, "Lol, PDI community is ridiculous. Ridiculous they are." Yeah. And look, I've tried to always keep an open mind about PDI, but look, the chart speaks for itself. And they had a couple good goes with a couple good protocols. The last one was just very sad. The Beta Bank, it'll go from 35 million down to, is it less than $1 million? I don't know what it is now, but it had its go. I would much rather Somi, who's one of the biggest influences in the Pulsechain and reaches out beyond Pulsechain, actually starts pushing better products, and he has recently started doing Peacock and Liberty Swaps, which is really great to see. I'd much rather see him do that. But it is what it is. We got start the asset with a pulse pair to establish price discovery. The LP can be relatively thin at first. Its main role is just to create the initial market. After that, build deeper liquidity in 2 or 3 additional pairs: stablecoin pair, wrapped ETH, and wrapped Bitcoin pair. So yeah, hey, look, I like that. I think that's good. I think that's combining a little bit of some of the other posts that people talked about. Goal is create thicker liquidity against assets that have external value, which dampens volatility both up and down while still allowing upside capture. A pure stable pair suppresses upside too much, but diversified base pairs give the market a more natural structure. I like it. I think it's good. The stablecoin liquidity also gives you another level. Benevolent entities can adjust the pool ratio with stables rather than constantly dumping Pulse into the pool to rebalance. That reduces direct sell pressure on Pulse. The issue with relying heavily on Pulse pair alone, I don't think anyone's saying Pulse pair, I wouldn't be saying Pulse pair alone. So I think this combination is a good idea. People tend to accept their printed meme coins into the pump. Yeah, and that's the worry, right? That's the worry, and we get it all the time, right? So that is the play. That effectively turns those tokens into proxy Pulse inflation, since their liquidity routes through the Pulse pool. By distributing liquidity across a stable ETH and BTC pairs, you reduce that reflexive sell pressure on Pulse, while still allowing the asset to participate in broader market upside. For now, it may also make sense to air gap PRVX from other assets, at least initially, until the liquidity structure stabilizes. Plus, this would be a cool social experiment. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in there. Only question would be around the Bitcoin part there, but he's talking about wrapped Bitcoin bridged in from Ethereum. So yeah, happy with that. That works well, I think. What else? Kind of cool. That was a good one. Brazology says peer 250k to die. No, he died there, I guess. 250k to PulseX. Pairing it to Pulse might drag it down from the validator class, constantly selling. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I know we've obviously got validator selling down there. It's an unprofitable business. And I do kind of like the PulseX idea. I think the PulseX would be pretty bullish. It'll also increase the, a lot of the burn as well to some degree. I think that would be quite a win strategy there. So, if you looked at brand and stuff around, around ETH and BTC, you could also have, PulseX in the mix there as well. Just depends on what the total amount you're going to put in there. But as Brandon talked about, you want to have a smaller LP because you're going to get this dump fest, right, from these, especially, people with potentially, like Bunkermental's got free coins, right? So $250,000 of free coins. So, put up, $1 million, you already got a $250,000 seller there that could just sell down the pool for his $250,000. Obviously, you've got to take slippage, but it's all free, right? All free. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Crypto Jax is in the chat. RH, the exact liquidity amount is a bit above my pay grade. Let's see what else we got there. Anchored primarily in strong pulse. Yep. Red pulse are rock solid. Yeah, I think we're happy about that being in there. What else there? Yeah, that's called Crypto Jacks. a little bit groggy though, a little groggy. We got was it Truth says? Well, let me scroll back up here. PDI with profitable arbitrage rails, so the market can enforce the $1 peg. What's the price of PDI right now? Let's have a look. We got to do it. Pulsecoin list, is it? Pulse, I misspelled Pulsecoin list. There we go, Pulsecoin list. Performing security verification. All right, so now I always try to remember which one it is. I think it's market cap, and that will find us a PDI. PDI here. Yeah, I mean, look at it. I mean, let's have a look. We're going to go daily chart. This is the daily chart. Let's go to the weekly chart on PDI. That's the weekly chart on PDI. Let's log it. That's the weekly chart. So, it's not, we got the wrong one there. We got price, not market. Let me go to the weekly again. Sorry about that. So here's the chart for, and we're going to log that again. Damn it. Just do your thing. Okay, so that is the log. So, it's obviously up from the bottom, right? But we got lots of charts like this, right? We've got lots of charts like this. The only thing like I say, it's got the strength of the community, one of the largest communities on Pulsechain. It's got some key influencers like Somi, but really doesn't have everything else. And it's not, how's it going to get to $1? It's not happening. It's this is the best it got to was 3.3 cents, right? So that's the best. And that's a long time ago now, right? That's a long time ago. How many weeks ago? That's 470 days ago, 470 days. And now it's at the bottom of the range, right? It's obviously coming up, but still on the bottom. Still sitting at 1400th of a penny, not even 1 cent, let alone $1, So you can post as many times as you like, it's how many X's it is to get to $1, but it's, it's still a dog's breakfast. There's nothing really to make that happen. And I don't think Liberty Swap's going to be the one that they're more interested in Peacock, right? Peacock actually has a chance. Peacock actually has a chance. All right, so that's kind of the play there. But hey, look, we entertained it. Are you not entertained? What else? So I think, Dylan had some good ones here with the Pulse and the stables. I think that was pretty similar to a lot of stuff that Brandon was saying. So we'll see where that lies there. We had some comedy posts in here from Guo. We've had obviously some of the other ones, PDI and PDC, people giving alternatives there. This is not too bad. Let's look. Bad whales who do nothing but sell can only sell so much PulseX because of its deflationary mechanism. I think it makes sense for the bulk of the liquidity with PRVX to be in PulseX and for that to be higher. So PulseX has been a really popular alternative. Maybe something like 50% PRVX PulseX, 10% PRVX Pulse, 10% Hex Inc. So the 4 Richard cores would be 80%. And then we've got some wrapped ETH 10% and some stables 10%. starting to look a lot like an index. Well, that's what, you got combination LP pools, kind of like that, isn't it? A little bit of an index. So yeah, we've got, I don't know. I just think Pulse needs to be a much bigger share. I do think PulseX should be used, but PulseX should probably be a bigger share there. It's just assuming that you think that PulseX is kind of coming off the bottom, and we're already at 1/10 of the sacrifice price. But we did get out of the 7,800, but I just kind of feel the chart looks pretty good too. We're over the 21 moving average. So yeah, it's certainly, I know, I still think, maybe 20%. And like I say, you just start off with a smaller amount of liquidity. So maybe start off, like Brandon was indicating, you start off a smaller amount. So let's see what happens. Not bad. We'll give that a like. Hey, Richard, says George, primary LP, go heavy on stablecoin pairing. PDI or PS. Screw the PDI, man. Come on, guys. Are these guys serious? I was going to read that, but now I've got to get out of it. It's too much. As soon as I start off with the P, they start with stablecoin. Yeah, sure, but we're not doing a PDI. 10 million liquidity feels right. PRVX USDC for a clean number there. Plus PRVX Pulse for the X system. So 10 million. This is a lot bigger than small liquidity. I think we need small liquidity because we're going to have a dump fest in there, right? I think there's a dump fest. We just don't know how much money is going to come in. I think there's good sentiment for money to come in, but there's just too many dumpermentals there. It's too scary. Yeah, you want it to settle down first, right? And I think that's why Brandon's point was really good there about small liquidity. You don't want so small that it's a little coin on the chain, but you certainly want it to be, I don't know, somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million, maybe somewhere in the airport park might be fitting, but you want it on the lower end, possibly. I don't think, are we going to have big players come in? Are we going to have big players? I don't know. We haven't seen anything on the bridge yet, but we won't really know that till tomorrow, right? Overnight, we'll get an idea. We had already had yesterday, we had about 350K come in, and maybe some of those are speculating with that 250K come in. So maybe they're getting ready for the buy. I don't know. They think they're going to get in early and then pump it, but then we've got people going to sell too, right? So, anytime you got free coins sitting in there, even one big player, that can be a dump fest, right? Because they're going to want to sell the pump. They're going to want to sell the pump because they know they've been in the market a long time. They know that it takes time for value to really be created there. So that's I think there. And I don't think we're going to get any sacrifice price pumping at the moment, at the beginning. Rat Pulse, this runs the whole blockchain, stablecoins. Hex, what, that is your baby, or is this not true? It's a bit of emotional guilt. There. Primary pool, PRVX Pulse, PRVX USDC or DAI, and PRVX Hex. Yeah, no PulseX in there, but I actually think PulseX is probably not a bad play. Certainly Hex seems like a decent play. So it wouldn't eat so that lettuce hands don't bring down the chain. So people still pretty nervous about that. I just think that, maybe we are down at the bottom there on the discounted Pulse. Certainly a Pulse pair and a PulseX pair will probably suit pretty well there. So it looks like we're going to index the old PRVX token. Not a bad idea, right? Not a bad idea. Liquidity 5-10 million paired with primary Rat Pulse. So we're up at a higher level now, 5-10 million. We had a couple of people around 10 million. Minimum liquidity 1 to 3 million. Yeah, I'm probably more closer to that, right? Probably more closer to that zone. I think that makes a lot of sense. Let me know your thoughts in the chat, of course. Within the first 24 hours, I'd like to see roughly 8 to 12 million. Now, too much. You're just giving too much money opportunity to the dumpers. Yeah. Structurally intelligent across peers, ideally about 50 to 6% paired with USDC, 20-25% with ETH, and 10-15% with Pulse. Man, there's a lot of nervous Nellies in there, but it's hard to not be nervous, I guess, from point of view. Although I do think the chart's looking better than that. But this can be a catalyst for value extraction. That's what everyone's nervous about, right? Pair with Pulse at 10x loss for the top sacrificer. Well, that's the other side. Well, the OA kind of obliterated the multiplier effect, but the big sacrificer is the Pulsechain sack, the public sack from Buckamentals, and he's got about $250,000 of free coins or whatever it's going to be. I'm not exactly sure. Depends on what the price is, right? Unless you want core coins dumped for stables or ETH to swap into PRVX, peer to Pulse only with minimal liquidity. Yeah, that's the other side of it. You want to protect your stable, your ETH, and your other stuff, right? Because it's going to hold value pretty well. and then you just let Pulse, which is already down, 10x. So that is the counter argument to that, right? Entry slip is low wall and discouraging whales from selling early once price appreciate, incentivize ETH stablecoin pools. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Liberty Swap says pair it with decentralized stablecoin. So there we go. So which one though? Which one? So that's interesting coming from them. Like what? DAI? Then you've got people selling PRVX down, which the technology's still got to play out and all that sort of stuff, the adoption, the burning and all that sort of stuff got to play out. Now, it may be aggressive in the future, but it's not today, right? It's not today. And so now you're just going to offer people a lot of wrapped ETH and DAI to sell into. It's pretty weird. Wouldn't you just rather do Pulse, maybe Pulse X, and then people going, well, I guess they can always sell it down, and do anything, but it might dampen things down with a bit of stable. So I still think we're left with kind of an index approach. Only needs to pair to Pulse. The problem with the reflection is we've experienced it to the downside. Let PRVX be unburdened by the other heavier things. 18 billion Pulse, 3 billion PRVX would be a good starting point. That would prove 1 Pulse X to 6 Pulse. Community will add liquidity on top of this. That's true too, right? So we're going to get a lot of that happening. If Satoshi buys the 18 billion Pulse of stables, that would paint a green candle for the whole chain. Yeah, it's not bad. 10 billion Shamillion PDI. Oh, we've already seen that one, haven't we? Like I say, there's free coins to be dumped, right? So that's always a bad thing. And I think that those will be dumped. I think the value will be captured on any sort of pump on there. I don't think they'll be held for a long term because they'll want it to pump and then dump, and then if they do sell it on the pump, they'll try and they decide to go back in because I think it's still going to be good in the future. They'll go back in. Otherwise, they'll just leave and go somewhere else with the money. So it is a big issue. It's very hard not to lose there, right? Very little liquidity initially, like 1 million, and that's kind of where I feel is the right play. You don't want a lot of extraction. You want to have a lot of control. You're going to get other people provide LP, no doubt. You're going to provide possibly incentives in the farm for that. Maybe we'll see what happens. FRH says if PRVX is trying to become a serious DeFi asset, the optimal target would be liquidity target 5 to 10 million. I just think that's too big, at the beginning. You just really want to get rid of those dumpers, and you want to know, if you know what the dumping wallet was, then you start building it up, and you want to let the market, provide liquidity and let the market decide, right? It's normally the way value works. Yeah, just too much money in there. Too much. $1 million Inc. token. Start with 2 million and 10, 80 split, 10 Pulse, 10 Pulse X, 80 in stable choice. What else? Like Fat Semi said, says Skate and Snow. Launch it on ETH with liquidity. We're sending him now. Yeah. All right. So we've got lots of different ideas there. What have we got? Any comments on here? What else there? Vinny says Liberty Swap is doing something with it though. Maybe they can make something happen. They can certainly facilitate stuff, yeah, but it's just a facilitation, isn't it? I wish Liberty Swap would have picked PLSB instead, though. Says Vinny. Yeah, well, maybe maybe there should be conversations, but no, it's too late. That's all done. That's all done now. The old Peacock is the chosen one. Peacock and PRVX both have buy mechanisms. Yeah, but if you select a token like Peacock, which obviously I'm a big fan of, and I think is probably the best chance to be a billion meme coin, and that would certainly help maybe with the PRVX. What are your other goals, or do you care? I guess you care most about the PRVX holders. That would be the first thing, wouldn't it? If you're shareholder value, but some of those shareholders are going to dump, right? The other thing would be that that you would want, if you have another goal, your other goal might be the greatest possible good, and that would be Pulse, right? Because it's one that everyone's got to hold. Peacock has still got a selective holder class, and they seem to be pretty diamond hand lately. So yeah, and there's obviously a huge roadmap for Liberty Swap, so people got a lot of long-term vested interest potentially. There's always going to be sellers on the way, large hold sellers, but that's kind of the plan. What does Grok say? If the goal is to max short-term trading volume excitement in the first 24 72 hours, as the post mentions, lean toward the high end of my range, 250 to 300k total. If trying to protect against brutal early dumps, stay closer to 150 200. Let community degens add more LP organically, and that's actually not too bad. I think it's probably on the low side. Probably this one here is probably closer, but that's kind of it's probably what I would think. So you got a couple of things. What's your total liquidity? How many liquidity pairs you got? What are those liquidity pairs going to be? There's some of the questions that people putting their views in. I definitely think that these big numbers, 5-10 million, while it creates a big LP pool, you don't really want it more than necessarily 5 to 10% of your market cap, right? So that's the other thing. And market cap, unless you're getting listed on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap and you're trying to get yourself ranked on market cap, it's not actually that important, right? Maybe something for the future, but it's more around what that LP is going to be and is it appropriate for the buyers and sellers on the market. But we still got to get, like it said, rid of the dumpers first, right? So that is some of the stuff there going on. I do like the Pulsex idea to some degree, but certainly you want to back Pulse, don't you? You want to back Pulse. That's the main fee coin, right? Can't shy away from it too much. And we already have come down a lot. So, yeah, question mark there. Presumably, if we saw a lot of stuff, presumably on Ethereum, right? So, Ethereum will do extraction if they're Ethereum players. So that's the other side of things. We saw a lot of sacrifice from Ethereum. Now, obviously, there was quite a bit amount of bridged over from Pulsechain, but there's a lot of stuff from Ethereum players, and we don't want necessarily extraction over there too much either. And so that probably supports having a pool over on Ethereum, and then we have arbitrage activities, and Libby swapping players like that, key players in that. So yeah, there's Richard Hart. Right, let's do a refresh here. We're done for time. We got 2 hours and 6 minutes. Woo! Well, I was only going to do an hour, and here we are, 2 hours and 6 minutes. But hey, look, we had special stuff come out here with Richard. We've had a little bit of fun talking about the LPs. Had a couple of good opinions on that. What else have we got? Pulse Bitcoin says we got a long, nice show today. Yeah, indeed. Let's let the Jeets cheat. Got to get the Jeeters out first, Sean. Hashtag burning fire. CryptoJack says, yeah. Now, you guys, we've got a huge crowd watching, so but thanks to everybody watching. And therefore, don't forget to smash the YouTube button. If you're on YouTube, smash the subscribe button right now. Take a moment to do that. It doesn't cost you anything. Hit the bell for future videos. If you're on X, of course, don't forget to smash the follow button because, guys, we are heading towards 1,500. We only need 15 more. You guys know I'm rebuilding the channel, and you guys make it possible. So smash that follow button. Let's get to 1,500 today. Let's do it today without delay. You like that? Today without delay. And, tomorrow's show, we're going to be covering, I'll be covering the launch, which is in about 21 hours or something. So I'll be covering the launch. I'll have to do 2 shows tomorrow. That's just reality, right? 2 shows. And so, yeah, that's coming up. Now, if you guys, obviously, if you subscribe, if you follow, that's cool. You guys know the largest influencer doing daily shows. I'm back to the grind. I had a few weeks off because I had to move house and got a holiday and then got ill. So I had 3 things in a row. But we're back to daily shows. And in fact, I've been doing 2 or 3 shows a day just to catch up, give us a follow. So we've got that happening. And if you guys haven't joined Strategy Club, you love all the intel that we've been dropping on the show, you want more access to it all, then Strategy Club's the place to be. We've got the QR code just below me right now. You can join up just over $1 a day, so it's really well priced, and you get all the hot intel there. You will know a lot of stuff that's happening in the market that's of significance. And so while joining up there, also find the links in the video description and pinned to the top of X there through the Whoop Store. Go through the Whoop Store and sign up, and we'll see you in Discord. It's a private club, secret club for Strategy Club there. well worth joining up. We've got a few members in the chat there today. All right, so that's some of the cool stuff. I don't know whether we've got. Should we do a general search while we're here, just because we're having fun with this? PRVX. I don't know whether it's going to come on the ticker, but we'll see. See whether they got any. Oh, we've got the live show. Well, that's cool. Good to see the live show there. All happening there. Patias says, ahead of upcoming launch, we've added PRVX to our token list. That's what I said. We're getting all the DEX aggregators all supporting pretty quickly out of the gate. We may have liquidity forks like Vault 369. I don't know. Is it more pressure for Fast Abdul to launch on Monday? I don't know. They're in public testing, aren't they? So I don't know. We'll see. He's not going to rush anything over security, though. So we'll see how that plays out. Ahead of the upcoming launch, we've added PRVX. Pretty cool. Where is it, actually? PRVX is showing. Oh, there it is there. Add it to your favorites. We've got some good people happy about that. We'll give them some likes. Bam. All right. So kind of cool. What else we got going on there? Just having a general search. Moon King, he's got his own opinions on it. He says, if you did not sacrifice a PRVX on Pulsechain, you will likely get wrecked buying it. This is what we've been talking about, right? If you think PRVX is going to the moon, you could get wrecked holding it. Every Richard Hart coin has started off with a massive dip. This time won't be different just because you are desperate for money. This is from Moon King. Hex, 95% dip right away. Pulsex, 3x, then 95%. Pulse 3x, the 95% dip. Ink token, 85% dip right away. Buck will cheat you on you. Now, we've talked about this being a big risk because he's got free coins, right? And because he was the one that did the biggest public sacrifice and got a share of the profits, right? Jeet will now the OA did hamper that. It was going to be millions of dollars in profits, but the OA sacrifice, the Jeeted the old buck there. Now he did provide a service to the community, so don't get me wrong on that. But you can decide what's appropriate compensation. It is free market, so people paid it. Jeet before he does, in the end, PTC will be the winner. So obviously pumping PTC there, no doubt. And we're big supporters of PTC. It's first DAO on the Pulsechain, and it has got one of the biggest communities as well, and a lot of key influencers. But it does have big holders too, like the old B roots. So he might cheat the cheaters too at some stage on the old. I'm sure he has in the past on the old PTC there as well. So take note. We got other stuff. What else have we got going? PRVX is live on Pulsechain. Yeah, we know that. That's true. It's kind of some stuff there. So kind of cool. So LP coming, guys. Next tomorrow we will have PRVX flying. Let the dumpers dump. Build up the LP after that. Get the technology working. It's going to take time. And the buy and burn and all that sort of stuff. Remember, it's all takes time. So it's like a business, anything like a business. Financial markets are instant, though, right? They're instant. They happen straight away. So we've got to get the Jeeters out, the Jeeters Jeet, and then we'll have all the hawks coming in afterwards, going, "Is this the bottom? I think it looks like the bottom. Let's buy up this token, right?" It's probably what's going to happen there. A lot of changing of hands. Kind of cool. What else? This was the token, right? This is the token here. I don't know. We had. Should we go to Crypto Coffee? Yeah, Crypto Coffee's been doing some good coverage of it. Crypto Coffee. And let's have a look. He's probably got some links down here somewhere. PRVX t-shirts are out. PRVX t-shirts. What else? I'm scrolling down here because he had a good link. PRVX launch there. We had KR doing an X space, so you can go and it's got coming up actually. 24 hours away, so they've got that coming up. So if you want to go and listen to that, you can do that. What else we got? Scroll down here. That's the token there, 30B. You did a little thing on that. Now let's go to the contract here. So this is the contract as well. Let's have a look. Yeah, boy. All right. So we've got 7,530 holders. So apparently that's the holder class. So how will that change once we launch after, the first couple hours, the first day? Takes a little while to update on the Explorer, doesn't it? So that's kind of the plea there. Let's have a look at some of the holders. Obviously, we've got this main wallet. I guess the 11% there, but we've got these other wallets here, 0.75%, 0.5%. You know, one of these are probably Buckamentals wallets on here somewhere, and so on. So, you know, it's a big play there. First page, top 50, 1.7 billion tokens. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with that when it launches. But that is pretty much it. All minted out. Thank you, Crypto Copy, for that. Crypto Copy says, you're most welcome. You're most welcome. All right, so how are we seeing the market at the moment? So not a lot of action. We're pretty much, we were PTC still holding up a little bit on the flat price there, 1.5%. Apart from that, that's pretty much it. The PTC UFO dominating there. Liquid loans up 6% for some reason. That is that. All right, shall we finish the show? I think we should. I may do another show later on today, so stay tuned for that, guys. We'll definitely be doing probably 2 shows tomorrow, my normal show and then a PRVX show when it launches. So that'd be pretty cool. Maybe that's the same time. Maybe it's the same time. Maybe the live show and the PRVX show at the same time. It's probably about right. All right, about similar time. But yeah, exciting times are happening. I just feel like going back and checking Richard Hart again. I don't know why. Let's go check it one more time. Yeah, this liquidity here. It's pretty interesting to see what people's views are on liquidity. I thought Liberty Swap would provide a bit more info, but that's fine. You know, definitely like Brandon's one, Maddie's, Fat Sammy's, Brazology's, many other people here giving views on it. You know, Davey says 2 million LP paired with Pulse, Buy and Burn, Ink Farm, Pulsechain. I believe that the rate was about 40366. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Slowly add liquidity. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Dylan on that. It's probably not too bad. Pulse, ETH stables. Yeah, that does seem pretty good breakdown. That was a pretty good breakdown. Now, you know, we talked briefly about Richard Hart talking about stable derivatives. We've got SDI here, right? Because the pool shouldn't just hold value, it should grow it. And of course, that accumulates the yield right inside the token there. SDI yield gets fed back into making deeper liquidity. Flywheel that spins harder, yeah. So, yeah. You could broaden the index, of course. I mean, you could broaden the index and you could add in top tier protocols. You've got to decide what they are, picking winners. But I think the winners on Pulsechain are kind of getting pretty obvious these days. And so you could have a couple like PGC, like Peacock, and you know, have little other LPs as percentages. But I think they're going to tie in naturally anyway, and people will put liquidity in next anyway. So I think we're going to have a much broader index of LPs and top tier tokens, regardless. The market will provide. All right, 2 hours and 17 minutes. I think we've got to finish up, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And I will catch you again maybe later today, if not tomorrow, for another one. I really appreciate the support. We're getting some really good viewership, and I appreciate that. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. We're dropping alpha about everything. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that, and definitely subscribe, definitely follow, and don't forget join up to Strategy Club. Links in the video description, links pinned to the top of follow of the X account as well, and get all the alpha that I drop constantly during the day. All right, take care, everybody. I'll catch you guys again tomorrow. Appreciate all the comments from all the people in the chat there as well. And onwards and upwards. PRVX is coming, guys. The next big thing for Pulsechain. And probably importantly, Pulsechain is holding that 401 number, and it's over the 21-day moving average. So we've got a lot of things lining up pretty nicely, I think. All right, take care. Bye for now.